Evening all, evening. It's Cookie here. Just thought we'd come on for a bit, see if any fans wanted to get involved in a bit of a chat. The thoughts really of the fans on today's performance and Romero and what do Spurs do from here? Are we in a relegation battle? So on and so forth. So I've got a couple of guests here already. If anyone would like to come on, the link is pinned at the top of the chat and it's also on screen now. But we've got TJ, who's already in, who I'm going to get to jump in first because he's only got 5 minutes. And TJ and Scott, welcome to you both. Thanks for jumping on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. TJ, tell us your thoughts, mate. And then when you're done, we'll come to Scott. Tell us your thoughts on today. What you want to say, man. Just what you want to say.
Yeah. Firstly, I just want to say sorry. I'm out in the wilderness. Obviously, I've just come back from the pub after the game. I was doing a live stream with Eugen, Spurs Waging TV, and yeah, what a absolute terrible performance in terms of Romero. He didn't have to clamp on. After Romero got sent off, it went downhill, in my opinion. And the worst thing is, as well, you know, Frank also made a crucial error because we were saying in the live stream that he waited too long to make the substitutions, in my opinion. But not just that. When he decided to make the substitution, he decided to take off 3 players all at one time. Straight after taking off 3 players, we conceded. He messed around with the dynamic that was happening from before. Look, it wasn't a performance that I can praise about. Yeah, we did have maybe 2 or 3 clear-cut opportunities in the first half. On the top of my head, the Solanke one where he actually fell over in front of goal. Maybe he could have got a shot off. I think the Conor Gallagher one, it was quite a soft shot to take, you know? Oh, I'm a bit dark serious. I'm trying to find a lamp. Yeah.
You're all right, mate. You're okay.
Yeah. But that performance was awful, you know? And are we in a relegation battle? Yeah, we have been for the past maybe 2-3 months. It's not gotten better. And I'm scared. Right now, I haven't ever seen my team go down, you know? I actually haven't ever seen my team be this low. Last year was an anomaly. That was the first time I've seen us on the top 10 in my lifetime. Obviously, you guys support Tottenham longer than me, you know? But I'm scared that we're going to go down. And I don't think we have the players to come back up.
Fair play, TJ. Fair play. I know you got to shoot. Is there anything else that you want to add to that, or are you done?
I've just got a question for the panel, if you don't mind me asking this question.
Yeah.
Do you blame Frank for them substitutions, like taking too long?
I blame him.
No. Evening, Mark. Evening, mate.
Hey guys.
Go ahead, mate.
Hello,
if you want to answer.
I blame Romero completely on Romero. I don't think the subs would have made a jot of difference. If you look at the quality of the subs coming on, it's just rubbish. Let's be honest. We don't have the quality's just not there in the subs. You know, Tell doesn't score. You know, Muani doesn't score. What difference does it make? You can put whoever you want on. They're not going to make a difference in a game like that. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah, I guess I'd ask TJ to maybe expand when you say, do I blame Frank for the subs? Do you mean, like, what do you think should have been done? Because I'm kind of with Mark there. I don't know what subs he would have made that would have made a difference in that case. And that's kind of where I know that makes me a Frank apologist somehow, but I still say the same thing. Like, there's no subs that I think he should have made that would have improved or changed the outcome of the game. I think the problem is you look who's coming on the bench. I don't want Tell on the coming off. Muani maybe, but I mean, he's shown how many times this year he doesn't care. He doesn't care to be here. So how can I be excited about him coming on? I just think we don't have the players that we would want to change the game. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily. That's why I probably, in general, wouldn't blame the subs. But maybe TJ has a specific thing that you're thinking
The,
of. TJ.
the thing is, the reason why, look, Romero was a fault for the game.
Oh, he's froze. Is he going to come back? He's froze. Perhaps his battery's run out. Oh, well, he'll come back if he gets sorted out. Yeah, he's definitely...
that's the thing.
Oh. I don't know. Sort yourself out, TJ, if you can. You're more than welcome back, mate. Just jump back on. You're frozen.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
We've got you back now. We've got you back.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, before I cut out, I'm just going to leave with this last thing. I don't blame the substitutions for the whole game. I blame Romero for the game because he was ultimately the reason why we lost. What I'm saying is when the substitution came on the pitch, we conceded straight away. We were already playing poor. 110% I agree with that, yeah? For me, this is how I see it. He made 3 substitutions at the same time, and it messed with the harmony of the defense. That's how I saw it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. But I felt like he should have done the substitutions earlier and not all at the same time. But you guys enjoy the rest of the show. And carry on liking, carry on subscribing to Mark, man. Mark is doing big things in 2026.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate that, mate.
100%. Anyway, Scott, I'm so sorry. What's
that's Mark
person on the
down there.
Mark, nice to meet you, my friend.
You too,
Oh, there's 3 Marks now. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mark Army.
Well, nice to meet you, Mark.
You too, TJ.
I will see you later.
Take care, TJ. Thanks for popping on, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Yeah, if you don't know the guys, any guest name, just guess Mark, and you're probably right. So
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's true, though. Cheers, TJ. And make sure everyone get over to TJ because he's flying into Spurs year after. He's putting out videos and live stuff from the pubs afterwards and all that sort of stuff. So get over to him and subscribe to him. Mark, what's your general thoughts on the game today and Romero and was it a red? Wasn't it a red? Is it a red in today's game, but it wouldn't have been yesterday? Did he mean it? Did he not? I don't know. What's your overall thoughts on it, mate?
My overall thoughts is it was a red. In today's game, you just can't follow through like that. It was obvious. It was rash. We've seen it too many times before. It completely changed the game. I don't care what people say. This just seems to be another way of him trying to get out of the club again. Another season, though he's supposed to be Spurs through and through, which I think is the biggest load of crap going. He wants to go to Madrid. He thinks the sun shines better over there. Sell him. I don't care if he never plays for this club again. I'm sorry.
So engineering a move, Mark.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All part of the...
part of his scheme. The lowest price down. So we're selling for 30, 40 million rather than 60, 70. Just get rid of him. He's a pain in the arse.
Scott, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a red card 100%. There's no debate. The only debate is because it's a Spurs player. If it would have been any other player that made that tackle, especially if they made that tackle against us, 100% our fans would be calling for maybe police intervention if that was the case. But if that would have been Brentford against Everton and the Brentford player made that same play, everybody would say, yeah, red card. It would be no issue. It's really silly to even pretend it's not a red card. It's a red card. Now, some people try to say, well, it wasn't intentional or not. I don't really care. It was a red card. No problem. I've been somebody, I like Romero. I tend not to be on either of the extreme of he's shit or he's world class, but I think now it's hard to defend him. He makes too many of these plays. He has so many things around him that aren't just football. If it was just him playing football and he played, I think it would be no problem. But there's so many incidences for him that this isn't just a one-off blip. So I would say, even though I don't have confidence that we're going to replace him with somebody better, I would say for the first time since he's been here, I would think about moving on from him. Just because there's so many things. It's just happening so often, and he's had so many chances. You would think maybe getting the captaincy, he would take things a little bit more seriously, and that hasn't changed for him. I think it might be time to move on from him, even though I'm terrified about who we're going to get in to replace him. Thinking probably most likely it's going to be Danso, and that's not what I want to see. But
yeah, fair play to that one. I've got to say, there's a bit of love for Romero in the chat. To be fair, we had a couple of comments that no way was it a red card, and you know, and it's funny how people see it all differently, isn't it? At the end of the day, you know, we've all seen the same thing, you know, probably multiple times, and everyone's got a different description of and a way of how they're seeing it. You know, for me, it was a red in today's game. You know, if you'd have gone back 30 years or whatever, it probably wouldn't have even got looked at. You know, and to be fair, it was a red. He's caught him, right? But the way Casemiro was rolling about, right, and then 3 minutes later, running the full length of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? But that's all by the by anyway. It was, for me, it was a red, unfortunately. And if you look at it, I've commentated on the game, and if you look at it, the game changed right there and then.
Mark, do you think now with Romero's, how can I put it? Because he's done it so many times, referees are starting to look for it. It's his signature, like the Keane was back in the day in Vieira's, where they would hand out cards more regularly because this is his thing. His reputation now is of doing this. Therefore, the referees are more likely now to hand in reds and yellows than other players, maybe.
It's a possibility, Mark. It's a possibility. You know, it's like back in the day. You know, Graham Roberts was tagged, wasn't he?
Cool.
You know,
absolutely.
You know, back in the day, he was known for clouting and clumping people and whatever else. But it was part of his game. It's what he did, and sometimes he was very good at it. Other times, you know, it went against him. But in answer to your question, Mark, possibly. I don't know. I don't know for definite. But to be fair. The ref was almost reaching for it before he'd even done it. Do you know what I mean? And he was, to be fair. I mean, I've never seen a card pulled out so quick, reactionary, just bang. He didn't even think about it. But I think we all agree, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it was a red card in today's game. Obviously, going down to 10 men, chaps, it changed the game. On what you saw for the rest of the first half and the second half, is there anything that Thomas Frank could have done differently, like the substitution, for argument's sake? Would you have maybe tugged someone else off? I'm just playing devil's advocate a bit, if you like, and just asking the questions, because I don't know. I'm just looking for ways that maybe the result could have been different, even though Romero was gone. You know. But we just didn't seem to offer that much any outlet, did we? Even though Audibert wasn't great, yeah. But the way I'm looking at it is, Mark, by taking that attacking player off in Audibert, he was making little runs, yeah. And even though he wasn't doing much when he received the ball, he was taking players away, and Simmons was finding a bit of space, and he was drifting over to the right, and that sort of thing. I don't know. It was almost, we had a man sent off and we just went into mode. You know, let's not get beat 4 or 5-0. It changed automatically. And second half, I think it was just a stroll, to be honest for you, for Man United. Wasn't it? Do you not think? I think we done what we could do, but I don't think Man United were overextending themselves, lads, to, you know, go and bury the game.
Well, to be honest, as we discussed before, the board has left this squad so weak, fragile. You know, the guy we should have signed scored on his debut for Atletico Madrid. If you don't have people like Lookman and other people of that quality or whatever who only take a moment to score, you're always going to struggle in games like this, especially when you don't get that many chances. And once it went to 10 men, apart from a set piece, could we really see Spurs getting back into it? And especially when it went to 2-0, it was game over. Man U spent 250 million on their forwards. What did we spend?
Yeah.
And they're all fit.
I mean, when you look at their forward line, I don't think scary is the right word, but, you know, Cunha and Mbeumo, very good players. And they played without a striker today as well, as such, didn't they? It was, do you call it a false nine or whatever it is? I don't know. But, you know, they was playing without a striker, but they didn't seem to have trouble getting people in the box. And, you know, I don't know. Carrick's got them ticking over, mate. For me, the red card absolutely knackered the game right up. I think he had a plan before he was sent off. I think that we was as good as them. I think they created a couple of good chances, but there was a 10, 15-minute spell in the game that United were not even in it. I think we had 95% possession in that time. Now, don't get me wrong, we didn't create much, lads, but there were a few balls fizzed in. There was a couple of melees in the box. Do you foresee a different result if Romero had stayed on the pitch?
Well, I predicted at the start. I predicted 2-2, but I think it would have been if Romero would have been stayed on the pitch, it'd have been much tighter. I think 1-0 to somebody. I didn't see a lot of goals, especially for us being scored in the game. What I saw, so I think it would have been a 1-0 or 1-0 to somebody.
Yeah, Scott, does Romero going off change anything for you?
I mean, I think with a full 11 or not, I'm much like Mark. I'm struggling to see where we're getting our goals coming from, and the way United have gone with the way Cunha and Mbeumo and even Bruno are playing right now. I think you need goals. I don't think we were ever going to have a 0-0 against this United team. So I still find, like, if we had our full 11, I'm still struggling to see. Maybe we're going to try to get the set piece goal, but you know, you're talking about what can we do. I think ideally what you would do is kind of sit back and try to hit him on the break. The problem we have is Solanke can't do that. He's not going to hit anyone on the break, right? That's not really what he's best at. If you keep Odegaard out there, he might be better for that style, but we've seen from him, he can't finish. He has no finishing ability at all. Again, go back to Mawani, who has shown this year that he isn't finishing. Like, that's the problem when we go down to 10 men and you're talking about you need to take advantage of your chances. And we have nobody on this team that's a clinical finisher, nobody that we trust to score at all to get those goals for us. So it's not me giving Frank a pass. It's just hard for me to think about how are we getting those goals that we need in that case. And when it went down to 1-0, I think that was really what killed us, is when they had that goal. You said Man United didn't look like they were going too hard because they knew they didn't have to. We offer so little threat after we went down, after they went up a goal. They didn't have to do anything amazing. They just had to just take it, control the game, not do anything silly. Don't do anything that gives us a free chance that we need, right? Don't do anything. If they just play a straight up game, they're going to see it out. And then they got that second goal and it's over.
Yeah.
Because we can't do anything against teams unless they sit back, unless they let us control the game. If they are doing anything where they're putting their will on the game, we don't do anything. It's why we have to go down 2-0, where teams kind of say, okay, we're going to go up 2-0. We're going to take our foot off the gas. We're going to let them do it a little bit. Let's see this win out. That's when we actually see that we start to do something. And when those teams realize, oh, we got to step it up again, we go right back to nothing. So I don't know. I think with no clinical finishers on our team, I think when you go down to 10 men, it's just so hard. But I'll say this to the players. They tried hard. I think we should have a higher standard, but the effort was there all game. The effort was there. They're just not good enough to do anything.
I agree. Scott, to say, like, in today's situation, you know, it's not even as if we've got a bit of a game changer on the pitch or anything, is it? Or someone that might, you know, spark that bit of something. And I don't know, we just couldn't get far enough up the pitch second half, could we? There was nothing. And the amount of times that we just oofed it out and it went up to the halfway line or just over, and, you know, United started again. You know what I mean? Build up again. And you know, I think there was only twice in the second half where we held the ball for a little bit just to give people a break. Do you know what I mean? To catch their breath. It's so difficult watching it, and you know, you're willing them on to do something, and it's just hard. It's just so hard. And again, we go back to the same old thing. You know, people can blame the manager, right? They can blame the players, you can blame who you want, but ultimately the response is them up there. They are responsible for it. You know, I've decided I'm not going to make these shows about them. When I want to go on about them, I do that on me Jack, you know, but, you know, they are responsible at the end of the day. And he can only do what he can do out on the pitch with the players that he's got. You know, and unfortunately, as I've stated, the dilution of Tottenham is real. It is real. You know, just look at the levels, look at the standards. Even if you go from Poch to now, you know, when Poch finished to now, yeah, all right, Conte fourth and all that, but the standard of the player has dropped and dropped and dropped. For whatever reason that be, whether it be Spurs don't pay the money and the players are still out there, whether the players are not there anymore, whether they're overpriced, whatever it is, yeah, they ain't spending the money for whatever reason. And now you see the situation you get yourself in when you get a few injuries, yeah, and you're down to bare bones with kids on the bench when you need people that are injured in your squad out there, yeah, and being a force for you and getting you out of this. And I don't know where the next win's coming from this month, fellas. I really don't. You know, I know we've got Newcastle at home and they're not the best travellers, but man, we've got to do something. We've got Arsenal coming up. I think we've got a Fulham away or Palace away or something. You know, we've got ourselves in a bit of a spot now, chaps, haven't we?
Well, they had a month to sort it out, and then all they did was bring a 19-year-old left back and a Conor Gallagher, and a Scottish under 21 player in, and that's obviously, and we're going into Champions League further in the group stages. It's utter madness what this board has done. Regardless if you like Frank, it doesn't matter. Whoever you put in charge, it doesn't matter. This board does not back anyone. Put Mickey Mouse in charge, a wheelie bin. It doesn't matter. The board does not back a manager. What's the point?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And I've been saying the same thing. You know, it's all right, everyone not crying, but saying, well, we'll have Poch back then, you know, because we know he's done it before. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who comes, you know, unless Poch can find 7 or 8 £20 million players that are really £80 million players. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what people are going to expect. A little bounce from him. They're going to give him a bit more time because it's Poch. But if you're giving him a bit more time, they're still not going to support him.
Well, if Poch comes in, Lang has to go, and so does the scouting. Everybody has to go. If Poch comes in, yeah, they all have to go because they can't identify players. They have to go. They have to be sacked or resign. They're just not good enough.
Mark, there's no one up there on that board that's football orientated, apart from the fella that's just come in, Mawson or whatever his name is. Apparently, he's got a bit of a clue, right? We know Lang from his interview the other day that he's basically spouted the same shit, right, that he spouted a year ago. Yeah, we've tried FC. Do you know what I mean? What an utter load of bollocks, stereotype shit that was, that interview. And what do they take the Spurs fans for? Do you know what I mean? I mean, a few of us have been round the block. Do you know what I mean? And he's just talking shit, mate, making us all out to be thick, to be quite honest with you. And at the end of the day, you know, all they're relying on is players coming back. That's what they're relying on. It's 100%. They got rid of Johnson, they got Gallagher in, and they got young Sousa in. And that's the end of it. We've got all this money. They spent 13 million quid. Right? Again, I'll just say, I don't expect them to go out and pay 100 million quid for whoever, because them type of players probably ain't going to come. Yeah, but there still are players out there that would help us out over what's going on. And I suppose at the end of the day, do the board think to themselves, well, do you know what? If we go and get another one for 25 million quid and we end up a place above, or we avoid relegation, the two extremes, yeah, is it then worth them doing that?
Mark,
In their eyes, or is it, well, it's a risk, but we're bound to have a couple come back that are strengthen us. There'll be like new signings.
there's nothing for me when I keep saying about there's nothing wrong with overpaying on quality. It's overpaying on crap. And we've overpaid on too much crap. Even if you've got a good player in for 67 minutes, as long as they're quality, it doesn't matter. This club is desperate for quality. Absolutely desperate. We didn't do enough. And again, we're going to find ourselves hovering above relegation again.
Yeah, let's welcome Haz in. Haz, nice to see you, mate. Hope you're well.
Hey, all right.
What are your thoughts today, mate?
We're already in the relegation battle, in my opinion. We're already there. Like, I know people don't want to understand it. We're already there. Like, 6 points is nothing, because obviously West Ham won today. I was hoping it was going to be a draw between Burnley and West Ham and Leeds and Forest. Like, the fact I'm even looking at these results, and then I looked at our goal difference. It's 0 now. I think there's like a difference of like 3 or 4 with the team below us. I can't remember who it was. And obviously Brighton are playing Palace tomorrow. We're going to have to be Brighton fans. Like we're already in it. And I think the problem with Spurs is like there's no leadership in general. So obviously we got rid of Levy, which we all wanted. Now the problem is Vinay's come in, and I spoke to TJ about this, I think so many times now. I think it's like essentially the types of leadership. So whilst Levy was like almost a dictator type where he would micromanage all the different like people in the club, right? Vinay's almost come in and said like a laissez-faire. I don't know if you guys know the term. Like you are left to your own devices. So they've got a whole new team, but the problem is that there's no like intent or purpose to like, he's not told them that you're doing this, get this type of player, for example, or you're doing this, because he's meant to be like the head of football basically. And we're in this position where he's letting these people do it, what they're doing, especially Lange, who seems to only be capable of signing like 19-year-olds. So, and then obviously Lange is also Frank's guy. I hate to say it. And we have to get rid of Frank. Like he has to go, mainly because, not because I have anything personal against him. In theory, actually, I wanted him to come, by the way, just so you guys know. And in theory, I thought because he's more adaptable tactically, it was going to work, yeah? But in practicality or like whatever, it's not worked. And I have to accept it's not worked out. And unfortunately, Frank is also Lange's man, which is probably why Frank is still here, I think. And which is why Frank has to go. And right now we need someone or something to come in and give us a bounce, because the window's closed now. So it's not like we're going to bring in like Redknapp back in 2008, who came in and we signed Chimbonda, Defoe and Keane and added some goals that we badly needed at the time. Right now, whoever comes in is going to have to work with what he's got. So we need to do the change now because we're already in it. Unfortunately, I can't give you a name because I asked people to give me names about who should come in, but we have to change Frank. Like, it's not because I don't rate Frank as a manager, but he's clearly not got the players on his side. Like, the players are not with him. And there'll have to be some like small improvements, like very small improvements. But when you're in the position we're at, we need like massive improvements. Like we can't afford to give him more time. And like I said, it's nothing personal with him. Like I just don't think it's worked out, and we need to just accept it, get rid of him, and bring someone else for 6 months or whatever along the season. And on the Pochettino thing, so I don't know your name on the right, more right of me.
Mark.
Mark.
Sorry. I know you meant Poch. Like for me, I don't think Poch would work long term. Like as in, I don't either. No. But the thing with Poch is the only positive I see of bringing him in is there's more chance of our fan base uniting. At least I think it might be what's best for the club at the time, just to get people together. Because we need something like that, I think, to unite the fan base. I'm not saying he's going to come in and suddenly fix all the problems, because he won't. But maybe he gives us some sort of upturn next year, whereby we're somewhat like in a respectable position. But I don't think he's gonna fulfill the unfulfilled promise we had with him, like whatever, 8 years ago now. But I just don't see it working out. Not under this ownership.
No.
But
No,
I'm
I'm the
talking right
same.
now, we think like short term, and we think like mid short term, and then like long term. So
Mm.
in the long term, they have to go unless some miracle happens and they get their act together and get rid of Lange and Frank and do another clean sweep. And for some reason, the other sweep is better. Like the next set of victims is better. I don't know. But I doubt that's going to be the case. So yeah, I'm kind of like
But-
we're already in the shit. We're basically already in the shit. So.
But
Yeah.
it's easy for the board to deflect away from themselves by just appointing Poch, isn't it? Don't look here.
Yeah.
Oh, we've fulfilled you. Look, we've got Poch back. We'll give him a couple of average-ish players, and he can, produce miracles. It won't happen. It will. He might get us up a league to 7th or 8th, but in the long term, unless these owners actually dig their hands in their pockets and back somebody properly, regardless if it's a Poch, regardless of whoever it is,
Whoever,
nothing
yeah.
will change.
Yeah.
In reality,
go on,
we're
Scott.
paying the price of that 2018. Was it 18 months we signed a player? We're paying the
Yeah.
price now because we let the rot get so bad that, okay, we've had signed Kudus and Gallagher, and they're good players. But the problem is the rot's got so bad and the squad building's so bad because we have so many youngsters as well. I kind of feel sorry for Sousa when he came on because I'm like, you chuck this guy in, he's 19-year-olds, expecting him to suddenly just be in a relegation fight. I'm just like it's not good development for the players. Like, even I don't like Tell, but I kind of sympathize with him because he's a young player in this mess. Like, there's too many of them like that. And then when you're in the mess we're in, where you need like people to take a hold of the other players, and to just galvanize us, or like some experience through this like shit experience we're having. Like, we're in a relegation battle. I still think we're in it. And then for our captain to fucking do what he did, like, it just goes to show how shit the leadership is throughout the whole club. Like, honestly, it's just I've not, from a personal standpoint, I don't ever really rate Romero that highly. So, but in terms of the fact he's the captain of the club, to do something so stupid in the situation where it was just, honestly, it was diabolical. I still can't believe he made that tackle.
Mm. Yeah.
Very good. I'm
Yeah,
off. Have a fantastic evening, boys.
All right,
Enjoy
Mark.
the rest
Thanks
of
for
the show.
coming on,
See you
mate.
later, guys.
Nice
Thank you.
meeting you.
Cheers, Mark. Tar, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks, mate. If anyone else wants to jump on, you're more than welcome. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. If you go back to the top of the chat, you'll see it up there. Or I can go back down here like this and go like that. There it is there. You're more than welcome to jump on. You need to have your camera on unless we know you. Because if you don't come on, the show's probably going to finish a lot quicker because these lads probably don't want to be here all night. Do you know what I mean?
No, I
So
don't
by
wanna be-
all means, jump on, have your say, tell us what you really feel, and we'll have a chat about it. Let me find out where I was again because I've lost it now. It's typical, isn't it? There it is.
Yeah,
It's round
sorry,
here
man. I
somewhere.
came on
Oh.
like for distractions, man.
No, you're
Well,
all
you're-
right, mate. Go on,
While you're
Scott.
finding that, I'll say this about Poch, and I loved him. I loved the time where he was our manager was so enjoyable to be a Spurs fan. I felt like we could go out and legitimately play with any club in the world, not just get a fluke win against City because we're their bogey team. But if we drew Real Madrid in the Champions League, let's go. Let's play them. Does it mean we're going to win everything? Obviously not. We didn't, right? But you felt like we could play against anybody in the world. But that was also when he had Rose, Walker, Dembele, Wanyama. When those guys left and we started replacing them with the Trippiers, who's not a bad player, with Winks, with Sissoko, we saw what happened, right? And the football wasn't that great to watch. That last season is papered over with the run to the Champions League. But if we're being honest, from other than that Champions League, the league form from January till the summer that year wasn't great to watch. And I worry that's what we'll get. That's the kind of Poch we'll get back, not because he's a bad manager, but because the players we're giving him are far closer to Winks and Sissoko than they are to Kane, Son, Eriksson. And I know a lot of people will say about Poch is that, well, he made some of the players better. I don't think we have players here. He's not making Tell better. He's not making Oderbert better. They don't have the skill set that we need to get better, right? Yes, they're young, but it's not like just if it was that easy that you're young and we can just make you better, then everybody will just buy random young players and make them better. It's not that easy. You have to have a level of talent that Tell, Odebert, Gray, Sarr don't have. So I don't want Poch back as much as I love him, because I think what will happen is he'll come back and the board will use that. So now we don't have to buy players. And the focus won't be on we need better players. The focus will be on Poch is going to make these guys better. And again, we won't make any improvements at the club. We won't have the changes we need, because he will be let off the hook, because our fans will say Poch is going to do it. And then maybe Haz might be right. Maybe then a year or two when it doesn't work out, maybe fans will say that now we're united against the club. But I think there'll still be people say, oh, well, actually, you know what? Poch was never a winner. He was never a winner. You'll hear a lot of that. And you've seen in some of the groups, right, Haz and Mark, like there's still some people who say, why do you want him back? He's not a winner. He's a loser. So I don't want Poch back unless it's with massive changes that we've seen before, and I don't think we have that we're going to get that.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. You know, Sheriff. He's he Poch comes back, he's over the moon. Do you know what I mean? But I'm pretty much the same as you lads. You know, that Poch team and what he assembled, even though it didn't get over the line, it was great football. You had a couple of seasons of being, in the top four and in a championship race, if you like, the Champions League final. It can be done. It can be done. I just think that he got not lucky. Lucky's not the right word. He assembled them at the right time. The right players were available. They had a bit of a plan. They knew what they wanted to do. I don't see no plan with this team at all. I thought in that little spell that I said to you, is 15 minutes, we was playing all these little triangles, 5-yard passes, and getting the ball up the field and doing whatever, and it all looked great. Unfortunately, today there was no end product. I just wanted to bring Binny's comment up. I don't know if you can have a quick read of that. Are you in agreement with this as far as the club's concerned? Basically everything with Romero is just all a smokescreen, basically, to, keep everything away from ENIC as normal. We'll whether he comes out, whether he don't, Romero. I don't know. What's your thoughts on Binny's comment here? Same lying crap. Don't want to keep hearing excuses about Romero and Frank saga. How many years? Same crap lines, all talk, no action, excuse FC. We cannot hide behind Romero and Frank forever. All lies.
I think both can be true. Like, I think obviously, like we know, and all three of us, we all know, we've said it many times, ENIC is the problem, right? Yeah. But ENIC being a problem doesn't mean that Romero gets off scot-free from going out there and making that tackle today. That had nothing to do with ENIC. That's Romero. We can criticize Romero for that, right? ENIC is responsible for us not having quality players, or ENIC and Lang together, right? But that doesn't mean when Frank has Palhinha sitting on the bench that we can't criticize him for doing that. So, yeah, sure. I think we can talk about ENIC is the problem. I think we all agree here. We want that changed. But I don't think then that means we can't address other issues at the club. It doesn't mean that we can't that other people at the club can't make mistakes too, right? Like, ENIC can be the problem. The players can be the problem. Managers can be the problem. All of them can be the problem, or some combination of that. And so I agree overall. Yeah, let's blame ENIC, but I think we're not going to give everybody else a pass because they're a problem. Or I hope we aren't going to. I don't think that's the solution.
No, go on.
I think they're all at fault, to be honest.
Yeah,
like
that's where I'm at. Top to bottom.
Romero. The thing with Romero, mate, is like, I still believe, and I said this at the time, they gave him the contract so he would stay, so they wouldn't have to sign out another defender. So they want to keep Romero with Van der Ven. I think Romero wanted out. I mean, he wanted to go for Madrid, but they must have somehow convinced him to stay. And I think the recent posts and the recent performances, somewhat, maybe a little bit, but it's because false promises, I guess, from the club. But then at the same time, for me personally, Romero, I don't rate him, so maybe I'm a bit biased against him in some ways. But Like, it's all of them, really. I mean, Frank's at fault because I just don't think he's the right person for us. Like I said, I thought he would be, but he's not. He's clearly not. And the players are just not good enough, partly because of Frank, because he chose some of them, partly because we've had 8 years of neglect and the recruitment's been rubbish, basically. The squad building's been really poor, and we're too overloaded with really young players and expecting them to be the people mentally there to keep us up at this point. And then obviously the very high people who clearly don't know what they're doing. And like, I'm not saying in terms of like spending like the right amount of money on players. I mean, in general, they just don't seem to know what they're doing. Like, they're not even organized themselves in terms of the board. Like, because normally with any company, and I hate to rate the business, but it's the only way I can say it, is you would have one person delegated to do certain things, and then they'll be told an instruction by the leader, this is your job, you need to try and achieve, I don't know, this metric. From the rumblings outside the club, I don't know if you follow Marcus Auckland, I think I'm going to talk about, is that his name, Marcus Auckland? He said some tweet saying that they're a mess and they don't know what they're doing. Well, clearly it's kind of obvious, because some of them want to get rid of Frank, some want to keep Frank. Like Vinay and Lange, I think the two people want to keep Frank. Some of them, I don't know, just they don't know what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing, and throughout the club, there's no leadership. Literally, from like the manager, the players aren't with him. Romero is head somewhere else. Plus, I just don't think he's good enough. That's just my personal opinion. Vinay and the other board members, they don't know what they're doing. They don't. And obviously, there was that fan arguing with Vivian Lewis. I think that kind of described it all. Like, everyone just so frustrated because clearly I'm not saying her personally, because there's other people there, but they don't know what they're doing. Like, they've not come out and said, what's the aim of this project? What's the aim of this? Like, there's nothing. So we're all left in limbo, like, as fans completely.
Yeah.
Literally.
We are, mate.
This is why we sit and argue every flipping week on chat panels, because we just don't know what we're doing. We don't know. The club doesn't know what it's doing. Like, I asked this to TJ, what is the purpose of Tottenham? Like, I don't understand what is the purpose of our club. Like, what's the end game?
The end game for the owners is to make money. Like, if that's what you're talking about, I think it's pretty clear, to make money, right?
But Scott, it doesn't benefit them for if we went down. It doesn't benefit them to make money. This is what confuses me, because like,
yeah, but we're not going down. We don't have a threat of going down.
Oh, Scott, please don't ever say that, mate. Listen,
it's Scott, reality.
You don't, Scott. No, listen, no, Scott. For 1 minute, right? Don't ever put it past Tottenham not to win in 10, mate. All right?
No, but there's a second part to that, Mark. The other teams also have to win. That's why I say,
of course.
I think we could not win in the next 10 games and still not be in a relegation spot, because you look at, we need all of Leeds, West Ham, Forest, and Palace.
Yeah.
Like, people focus on one. All 4 of those teams need to pass us. That's why I think we could lose all the next 10 games. Don't get me wrong. But people focus so much on what we have to do and forget the other teams also have to win. And as great as West Ham is being lauded for right now, there's a reason why they're 6 points behind us and 17 goals behind us. Because they've done that over 25 games. They have 23 points. They're not a good team. They will struggle to make up from now till the end of the season. They'll struggle to make up 7 points on it. Like, 7 points is a lot of points for them. They're not that good. That's why I say it. And it's not to say that we're good, Mark. I think we could lose the next 10 games, like you said. But the second part of that is the other teams behind us also have to win. And they've shown that they are just as capable of losing their next 10 games as well. That's why I say it. That's why I say it.
That's a fair point, Scott, when you put it that way. I can see where you're coming from with it. And I understand that, what you're saying. I just I said on the show the other night, Scott, my fear is that once we're dragged in, if it gets to that point, hopefully it won't, but like you say, 6 points plus the goal difference, 7 points really, right? But if we do get dragged in, if these teams, do start picking up points, or even if 3 of the 4 of them start picking up points, and we're looking over our shoulder. Mate, we're Tottenham, 16th, 17th. What are we doing? I just don't get it. And it bothers me because I don't think if we get dragged in, we've got to fight. I really don't, Scott. I look at that team.
Mark, I'll say this. It's not us, it's them. Like, to me, like I'm saying this. I agree with everything you're saying. I fully do. And I would also I should have started by saying it's embarrassing that we're even having this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, again, I agree with everything you're saying, Mark. I just think the other teams as well, I don't think they have much fight in them either. And I think we'll be saved by them. So I agree with everything you're saying. Keep going. I agree with everything you're saying, Mark. I just think we're going to be saved because the other.
I'm sure Mark might remember this. My dad was a fan when we went down, and I had a conversation with him today during the game or after the game. And I go, do you think there's a chance we might go down? And he goes to me, I mean, I look at us, he said, and there's every chance we might go down because, like, we're just an absolute mess. Like, and the biggest thing is what Mark said is, for me, Scott, is that we don't have the mentality. Like, if we actually went down, I think we struggle. We might end up in League One. I know you think I'm mad, but like, we just don't have the strong mentality in the board and in the players and in the manager. This is why we need to do some short-term change at least, like to try and galvanize the team or like do something different. At this point, that's why. Like, I mean, I was defending Frank till like the West Ham game, but then the West Ham game for me was like a massive red. Like, I saw red in terms of like, if we lose to West Ham, we're capable of losing to anyone. I know West Ham have gone on the run or won for the last 4, but they hadn't won in like how many games, and then we broke another record, another team, and they hadn't won. And it's just, it's not like I look at our team and think, even back in the 90s, we had rubbish players in terms of on paper. Like, they weren't technically like that great. Maybe weren't technically as good as like Paulinho, but at least they had some fight in them. So when we were in those battles, Stefan Freund and players like, I used to look at them, I thought, yeah, these players can galvanize the rest of the team and keep getting enough points to get a point in a hard game or like score last minute, you know. But when I look at us, because we've got so many kids as well, like, it's a massive problem. And because the window's shut, like, if we went out and signed, say, 2 experienced players, even though like 32-year-olds or something, who had experience of being in the relegation fight, even though it were just short-term deals, I'd be more confident that if we were dragged into it, we could get out of it. But it's a massive problem. Like, Frank, because Frank, I'll normally say on paper, okay, because of his experience at Brentford, he would be able to do it. But clearly the players aren't with him. So this is why I have massive doubts. They're not with him. Scott, the players are not with him. Like,
I don't really care if they are or not. I don't think there's any manager that's going to be with him. I don't like. They're crap players. Good if they're not with him because they're so poor. I know it's lots of people disagree. I'll say it again. I look at Leeds players. I don't see a lot of people who are going to fight. I see West Ham squad. I don't see anybody there that's fighting. I see Palace, and their manager is livid at what's happening right now. He doesn't seem like he cares about fighting. He's already said he's leaving. And that's what it comes down to me. I look at the other squads and I don't see much that makes me think that they're going to do anything. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll start to play better, but
Palace, Scott, I completely agree with you because that's a sinking ship right now because Guehi's gone, Glassen's going, and they're just playing out the season. But in terms of the other lot, like West Ham, I think the players are clearly responsive to Nuno. I know we got rid of him, but clearly he's getting something out of them. Nigel Farke, he's clearly getting a lot about the Leeds players, even though obviously he's been down with I think Norwich before or something. Norwich before. So he's clearly learned his lessons somewhat. And Forest, I can feel kind of 50-50 with it because of Dyche. I think he's got a lot of experience being in relegation battles, which is like amazing. But I can't really, I don't know. I'm not watched enough of Forest to know whether, they're together in terms of the fight. So I can't really judge that one. But
I think Forest is struggling because even though they're in a low-level competition, they're not that big of a club and they're playing in 2 competitions a week, right? So
yeah, that might be a factor as well, yeah.
And that's
but
not
we are
great
as well.
For
the Champions League starts again in March, so
I just say like West Ham didn't show much fight when they gave up 3 goals in the second half against Chelsea, and I know Chelsea's much better than them, but up 2-0, you would think they would at least hold on that for a draw. But we'll see. Again, what's the worst part is this shouldn't be a conversation we're having. It shouldn't be a conversation we're having.
Here we are, mate.
Yeah,
Second year in a row.
Unfortunately, we are, and I think most of us said it. You know that this month was going to be hard. Do you know what I mean? As in regards to the opposition, and excuse me, would we nick some points? And you know, it's difficult, and this is what I mean, Scott. When I say about it, for argument's sake, like now West Ham have won today, and it's like you say, 6 points plus the goal difference, 7 points, right? I don't know who West Ham's next 2 fixtures are. I haven't got a clue. But
they have Brighton at Liverpool, City and Villa, I think, are their next 4 games. Bournemouth, sorry. At home to Bournemouth, at Liverpool, City and Villa, or something like that.
Right, okay.
Maybe not Villa.
So let's just say, for argument's sake, Scott, and I know what you said, right? I know what you said. It's not just one team. It's Palace and Forest and Burnley, I think it was, whoever it is anyway. Like next week, for argument's sake, we don't win one of these 2 games on Tuesday or next weekend, then and West Ham pick up a win, all of a sudden we're 3 points and a point, Scott. And I think that you've got at some stage, there's going to be in the dressing room, unless they sort it, they're going to be like, oh my God, lads, we're in it here. We've got to do something. We're in the shit. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, but
that's what bothers me, Scott. That's all, mate.
But if we're doing that, I don't think West Ham is likely to win any of their next 4 games. Is it possible?
Okay.
Yes. So we can easily say this: they lose their next game. We get a miracle against Newcastle. Now we're 10 points up.
Yeah,
or
get that,
whatever. 9 points. I say 10 because they're not making up the 17.
Yeah.
Listen, Scott, I'm with you. Yeah. For me, if we can get probably 2-3 more wins before the end of the season, that makes me feel more comfortable. Does that make sense? If that's the right terminology to use, probably won't put us much further up the table. Yeah, but I just don't want us to get involved in that, you know, furore of 3 or 4 teams fighting it out for the final spot. You know, it's that. That's all. It's that.
No, I agree. I just think that lots of times we see like, oh, they're and Thomas in the chat had it. They're at West Ham are at home to Manchester United next. I don't think they have and we're playing Newcastle. I would say we're both going to lose those games. But our fans now kind of are acting like West Ham are some power that are going through and they're going to win. That's all I say. Like if you look at it,
Scott, it wouldn't matter who was there. Scott, it wouldn't matter for me who was there, if it was West Ham, if it was Stoke City, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's just the fact that we're down there. And I think it's an absolute travesty, mate, to be honest with you. And like Has said, I've got no idea what they're doing up there as far as the football's concerned. It's almost like, you know, they're trying to erase it and drop it down a level. And for me, from someone who owns the club, who are in business to make money, what does finishing 17th and 16th do for Tottenham Hotspur? Even if they're not relegated. All right, you're still in the Premier League. You're still getting the Premier League money. That's what it's all about for, and the money. I get that, but there's got to be a time comes when the fans in the stadium, don't direct their anger at Thomas Frank, because if you're doing that anyway, you're directing your anger at the board because they employed him. Right? So at the end of the day, like Has says, and I agree with him, something somewhere in that era, that bit at the top there has got to change for the mentality to change for me. I don't know how we do that. It's almost like I want to get them all, throw them all out. Do you know what I mean? And just replace them all again and get 2 or 3 people in there that know something about football. Then get a DOF in and the scouts in that the manager requires. Because how are you going to find players for your manager that you've bought in but you're not backing. I don't understand it. And I think they can only deflect so often. And I think, to be honest with you, the fans in the stadium should forget about going after Frank. I think, to be quite honest with you, the way they've dealt with him is like they just deal with everyone else. Get on with it, mate. Try and bring a bit of youth through if you can. We'll chuck the odd player in for you. But, you know, I just feel like he's been, you know, he might not be the quality of manager. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's like Jose Mourinho or Alex Ferguson. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, he hasn't been helped in the slightest, I don't believe, really, when you think about it. I don't know, chaps, where are you on that? Please tell me what you think about, you know, I know that Haz is saying, look, he wants a bounce. I know you want to bounce, Haz. You want to get him out and you want to get someone in, hopefully win them 2 or 3 games and feel a bit better about it. Scott, where are you at with it?
I only want to change the manager if we're getting somebody who's upgraded. I think the problem, and that's what I've said all year is, or more recently when we were talking about getting rid of him, is if you're saying we're just going to get rid of him, and the options that I'm looking at are likely to be a Ryan Mason, I don't even know if Gareth Southgate would come, something like that, and you're just replacing Frank with somebody who's worse or maybe the same, I don't see the benefit to that. I think we've seen that happen, right? Wolves changed their manager. They went from 20th to 20th. West Ham have changed Potter and got Nuno, who people say are doing a good job. Well, when Potter was sacked, I think they were in 18th. Right now, they're in 18th.
18th.
Right. Forest sacked their managers. I think they've gone from 17th under Nuno or under Ange to 17th under Dyche. And I think that's what we're seeing is that if your problems are that your players aren't good enough and you replace one manager who's not at an elite level with another manager who's not at an elite, I don't know, whatever you want to call Frank, like that's the problem I have. And I also think it's getting to the point where it's too late. I think if you wanted to sack Frank, we should have done it in December. The new manager gets to come in. We had a softer schedule in January. We also theoretically could have some impact on who we're bringing in, right?
Yeah.
Now you're bringing in this the manager. What are our next games are Arsenal and Newcastle and right? Like you're saying, come on, you get 2 of the hardest games that we have now to start your time here. You also have like most of our squad is injured. So what are you going to be able to do at training with these guys? Like, I just don't know what impact a manager is going to have that we could bring in right now. And I don't think there's many. I don't think we're getting Xavi Hernandez. I don't think we're getting Xabi Alonso. I don't think we're getting Glasner, even if he left Palace, right? Like, I just want to hear who we're bringing in and how they're making a difference. You're looking at
for like, I see what you're saying, right? You're saying long term, you want like a much better manager than Frank. I'm just looking for a manager who's going to come in and do a job for 6 months. Now, back in the day,
I don't even think there's that though. That's my concern. I don't think we have long term or short term.
Well, back in the day,
who's that manager?
Back in the day, we had obviously. I remember David Pleat used to come in every 6. He'd do like a 6 months interim and steer us away from whatever mess we were in. Now, obviously, Pleat's not part of Spurs anymore. But because me and TJ were having this conversation saying, look, United brought in Carrick and they had the Solskjaer option and they had maybe another option. I can't remember who he said, but so they had ex-players who had some really good experience. Like obviously, Carrick's maybe overperforming right now. I don't know. We'll see. But we don't have that option, right? So I'm not expecting Xabi Alonso to come to Tottenham. I'm not expecting Xavi to come to Tottenham. At least definitely not now. I just want someone to come in for like the last end of the season, the last 10 games, 12, whatever we've got left, and just steer us away from this mess. Because I was looking through the fixtures whilst you were talking. Now, all Leeds, Palace, so the 3 or 4 teams below us, they all have to play Wolves. So that's basically 3 points maybe for each of those games.
And we play Wolves.
Have you seen our record against Wolves, though?
Okay, have you seen our record against City?
Great answer. Great answer.
What I'm saying is,
if you've got any of the bottom 3 to play, forget that.
But like they have some. I know in the next few fixtures they don't have easy fixtures, but if we're looking and say like, because you mentioned like 10 games, that I still think there's winnable fixtures for like West Ham and Palace and Forest. Now, my saving grace with Forest and is that they got Europe, but obviously they might get knocked out, right? With Palace, Glasner's kind of they're playing it out, so maybe we'll be okay in that regard. But with West Ham, the closer they get, we're going to get dragged into it, and I can see Leeds overtaking us in maybe a month.
Why? But Leeds have been crap all season.
So
like, what are Leeds doing? They're
like,
lower in the table than us.
We're on the same points as Leeds, though, Scott. This is the thing. We're on the same points as them.
So if we say we're just as, like you said, there's in the next 10 games, there's winnable games for them. Well, then there's winnable games for us too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. There's
like
games
the problem
there that we
is,
should be
and I
winning.
understand why we do it, but we say like, well, we can't. Like, look at our record against Wolves. Well, Wolves beat West Ham like 3-0 or something this year, right? Like, we always put the negative on us, and the teams below us, we ignore their negatives. But there's a reason why West Ham has 23 points and are 6 points behind us, because they're not good.
What I'm trying to say, Scott, is that West Ham had a bounce. Like, we've not had a bounce. I think won like 2 of our last 16 games or something. Is it 2 of our last 16?
Yeah, 2 of 16. It's very poor.
They've had a bounce. Palace, like I said, with Palace, I'm with you. I think they'll survive, but I don't know how comfortable that'll be, because I think Glaston's just kind of there and it's just playing out. The season's just playing out. Forest are kind of in between about. Leeds, I'm quite confident they're going to stay up now. I don't know. I think I've seen enough to say they're going to get enough points to stay up. But with us, it's just, like I said, like, we need to do something different. I just don't know what. Like, and the only thing that you can change at this point is the manager.
Yeah, but we've seen again, like,
I'm with you. I would have sacked him in December if they brought someone in and said, "You got the January window. We're going to buy you these." Like I mentioned before, with Redknapp, he bought Defoe, Keane, Chimbonda, and Palacios. Sorry, that was the other guy I forgot, and I think maybe some other player. And they brought these players in, and we turned it around. We've got enough points to finish 7th, whatever it was. But the window has passed. We're past that point now. I'm just focusing on this. Like, unfortunately, Scott, we can't look at the past and say, "Oh, we could have done it." Like, we're at this point now. So we need to do something.
But
yeah.
We need to do something.
We need to do something that helps us, not just do something, right?
No. Obviously, but that's why I was saying bring in like an experienced ex-Premier manager or something, which was, and just a duo of people who used to play for Tottenham. Like, I'm sounding mad. Yeah, I was thinking like bring back Sherwood for like 6 months. I'm sounding like an idiot, because back then I was like Sherwood out, let's say. But like, at least the guy's got experience at the club, right? And at least he has some.
But I don't mind if we bring in Tim Sherwood. But do you really think, like, that's hope, right? That's just hope that he does something. It's just hope that he does something. Not any like. What's that?
We're not doing anything right now. We're losing every week.
But Tim Sherwood could come in and lose every week. He could lose more games than Frank does and bring us down, right? Like Nuno, or what? Ange went in and lost, 6 out of 8 games for Forest?
Ange is I don't know. Believe me, I don't want Ange back. Please,
I'm not saying Ange. I'm just saying is that just because we bring in a new manager doesn't mean that, okay, now we start winning.
Of course, there's no guarantee, but the probabilities is I think that we might get more out of the players. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm just saying that's what I would do. I'm not saying I disagree.
Yeah, but
with
you're doing it
like,
as on hope, not like it's hope that they would do better.
Well, but what else do we have? The club hasn't told us anything. Like, if I'd have more confidence if the club came out and said we're sticking with Frank, like regardless of what happens.
Yeah,
and be like, okay, so they're clearly going to back him somewhat in some way. I don't know what at this point, but they didn't do that.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's what we just have hope. We don't have like if I said to you, we're bringing in Jurgen Klopp, you could say there's reasons why you would expect him to do better, right? Like, that's all I'm saying. We're not bringing in Klopp, is that we're at the point of the season where we don't have any good solutions. So now we're going to hope. Let's hope Tim Sherwood can come in and do better. And that's all I'm saying. That's why I don't care. If we bring in Tim Sherwood, great. If we don't, great. Who cares? Because I don't see anything in Tim Sherwood that's improving the team. If Harry Redknapp was 5 years younger, I would be 100% say bring Harry Redknapp in, because we've seen the impact he can have when he comes into a club, right?
Mm.
But I haven't seen that from Tim Sherwood that I would believe that he could do it.
Yeah. Fair dues.
That's all.
Yeah, it's. I think you're right, mate. It doesn't matter who comes in, in the short term. It's the same players. You might get a little bounce. Do you know what I mean? But I get where Scott's coming from. At the end of the day, if you're going to replace the manager, you've got to replace him with an upgrade. There's no point bringing, a similar type of manager that doesn't suit the way that either the squad is of players that he's got, or knowing that they're not going to do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? So it is really difficult for Frank at the moment, I think, especially with all the injuries. And again, I'm not saying he's some sort of, Jesus model or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Who do you go and get? Who now? If you've got a choice, and in the chat, please, who's available?
If
you
me,
sat Thomas Frank tonight, who can you go and get?
I would bring in Renap as like an advisor with like Sherwood or someone like that, an ex-Spurs player, even someone like Jermaine Defoe at this point. And then he can bring some of his old coaching stuff with him as a Renap. And then we go back to the old model for like just for the last few months of the season. And then you go get Poch in the summer, because I think that's going to happen anyway, inevitably. But we need something. And I think the fans are definitely against Frank. The majority are definitely against Frank. And when you're in this situation, I think you need the fans to be with the manager, and obviously the manager to be with the players. And I don't think there's a complete, at least in my opinion, and like I said, I was one who's defended Frank for a very long time. But the West Ham game for me was the massive red. Like, we need to do something. Like for me, the fans clean up with him. The players clean up with Frank. And like I said, it's not because Frank is a bad manager. I just think it's not the right fit, or whatever other explanation you want to give me. So that's what I would do. I would do something like get someone like Renap as an advisor, and bring in not Mason, because I don't think Mason's the right person, like a Sherwood or Defoe, or there must be some Spurs player out there who has, like, I would have said Robbie Keane, but I don't think we can probably get him out for Nick Faros for like 6 months.
Can't see that.
Yeah, so it's just something like that, and then just because I think at least if it wasn't like a Renap type, because he has got obviously good faith with our fan base from before, and he doesn't have to be the manager, as long as you know he's like involved. I think people will be more susceptible to giving like a Defoe a chance as a manager, or because I think the fans will be more with someone like that. I'm saying not for me personally. I'm just saying like we think about things like about everyone, because most people are against Frank.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Most people are against Frank. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's difficult. Like you say, most people against Frank
the whole club to be like together. And at least when I look at West Ham, I'm not saying they're definitely going to stay up. I'm not saying the Nuno's the best manager in the world. I mean, we sacked him after 10 games. But at least when I look at them, I can see the players responding to the manager. And at least maybe it's just short term, but the fans clearly are with Nuno, I think, from what I've seen online. So when they're united, at least they were at least trying to stay up to get, I'm not saying it's extremely positive, but there's faith that they're going to stay up. They might find a way to stay up.
Yeah.
But with us, I just don't think there's nothing there. Like, I understand Scott's perspective, and if you get rid of Frank, you should bring in someone who's a better quality of manager. But right now, I think we need someone to come in who's going to get the fans back on side, given our situation, and the players back on side, given our situation. It doesn't have to be the best manager in the world, but just someone.
I think what you mean is, in layman's terms, is bring some people back that have got some football experience into the club.
And some affiliation with the club in somewhat, I would say as well.
Yeah, I get that, mate. I understand. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Listen, there's nearly 60 of you in here. I haven't asked yet, but if you haven't subbed, please do. If you're enjoying the content, and like the stream. We're always going for 50 likes, and there's a few of you in here tonight, so hopefully you're enjoying the show. We'll go for another 10 minutes. I just want to ask the lads, where do we go from here? The position that we're in. A couple of what I would call hard games coming up for me with the form that we're in. Newcastle's not going to be a rollover. As rough as their away form is, I think it'll be a game. They'll have Guimaraes back as well, so they'll have that powerful midfield, Joe Linton, Guimaraes, and is it Jacob Ramsey they play on the other side? Harvey Barnes and all that lot.
Tonali.
Yeah.
Well, today, Barnes,
Tonali.
Wista,
Yeah,
Murphy's the front line, but they've got Walter Maid on the bench, Elanga on the bench. I mean, they've got loads of options, to be honest.
yeah.
Gordon's not even on the bench. Yeah, maybe he's injured. I don't know.
So where do we go from here, lads? Is it just a case of we just plod on to the next game and we see who's available, let him pick the team and let him try and go out there and get the points and get us out of it, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, there's sadly not really much else that we're going to do. We're just going to have to. We don't have a lot of options of who to play. We don't have a lot of options to change it. There's, we all wish that there was somebody who's coming back and going to magically solve it all, or there was some magic youth player that's going to come in, but that's not the case. So for the short term, we're just going to really see out games and hope that the teams below us keep losing games like they do. That's all we really have, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just two more things I just want to just briefly talk about. First thing is, what did you make of Thomas Frank apparently saying no to players that were prepared to come in on loan? An example being, we needed a centre forward, John Duran. Just putting it out there. Apparently he was offered. He was happy to come, and Thomas Frank has said, no, thanks. I mean, can beggars be choosers? I don't know, chaps. Thoughts on that one?
I think we should have taken him because Moani clearly doesn't want to be here. So I think Frank did a mistake there, personally.
Yeah. Scotty?
Yeah, if those reports are true, it's
apparently so. Apparently they're true.
Really frustrating, and it makes no sense at all. I think I don't know if I said it on your show, Mark, or maybe it was Danielist, but when you're Arsenal, when you're City, when you're Liverpool, and your squad is already pretty quality, even when you're back in the Poch days where we had our first 11 was quality, right? Yeah. You can be picky about your players, right? Because you can say, we don't want to mess it up. There's a certain level of player that you need to come in and make an impact. When you're starting Odobert, Tell, Gray, Sarr, Richie, Solanke, I'm sorry. You can't be saying we're only going to wait till we get our first choice or our second choice. When you finished 17th in the league last year and are currently 14th, 15th, rotating through there, you don't get to say, well, we want Semenyo or nobody else. Like, that's delusional. So I understand you might not want to say we're going to spend 60 million and 200,000 in wages to bring in the next Richie or Solanke. But if you're talking about bringing in a guy for a loan till the end of the season, which just costs you money, but you're not committed to, and it's a clear upgrade on players when we are playing guys we do not want in the squad, it's awful. If they're making those decisions, if it's Frank who's the one who's saying it, like, that's sackable right there. Whoever's making that decision that says we're not going to bring in Duran, who's not my top choice by any means, no. But if you're saying you're putting out Tell or Duran, it's 100% Duran. There's no argument to be made not to have Duran out there. And if he's a bad guy and he upsets the team, it's not like we're humming, right? Like Haz has said, we're not doing well. The players aren't exactly 2 wins in 16 games. What is there to upset? Bring him in. And if it cost you, I don't know what the fees were. I think somebody said, or I read it, wasn't it only like 1.5 million for the loan fee for Lookman to go to, or no, he wasn't. That was the reported to Turkey. He ended up getting bought, right? Yeah, but you're talking about like loan fees around under 10 million, even like 3 million. I think we're talking about for Robertson. Like, if you're if it's going to cost you $3 million, I mean, that's a lot for us. Maybe not Cookie the way he goes to Spain. He's got $3 million in his pocket. But for Haz and I, $3 million is a lot of money. But for the for Spurs, $3 million, right? They can. I'm sorry, that's nothing.
Well, also, Duran scores a lot of goals. He scored a lot of goals off the bench for Villa. So even if you're not starting him, I'd actually have some confidence that instead of bring on Tell, you bring on Duran, he might get a goal and might get us some points. Like,
yeah,
and he clearly doesn't fancy Tell. Frank, he doesn't fancy Tell. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but Mwani doesn't even want to be here. Mwani doesn't even want to be here.
Yeah, good point.
Well,
It's not like Frank wants Tell, right? Like he's shown many times.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's not like
he doesn't. Yeah.
It's not like he brought Tell from Brentford and we're kind of pissed because he loves this guy. You know what I mean? Like it's not like his favorite little player who he plays. He doesn't even want Tell. So why can't you upgrade that? Yeah, if it's true, Mark, it's
madness, isn't it? Madness.
I can see why Frank didn't want him, theoretically speaking, because he has that no dickheads policy thing. So maybe that's why. But at the state we're in, I'll take Duran on loan for 6, whatever.
But even if it isn't him, I just have a hard time believing, as hard as people say the window is, that there's not an upgrade over some of the players we have, right? So maybe they say Duran, hey, we don't want him. There's it's not many people moved. We agree. But again, that's because certain players like Villa right now, why would you just randomly bring somebody in? You wouldn't. But we are two wins in 16 games. Like, what are we doing here? Let's bring somebody in, take a chance. And there's got to be somebody out there that we could have brought in that could have helped the team.
Yeah, David, on this one, I agree with you to a point. Yeah, it is still ENIC, the Lewis family. I get that, and I'm totally, you know my feelings on the subject, right? But don't be under any illusion. You know that Tottenham spend money, right? Tottenham have spent a lot of money over the past few seasons. You know, one of the highest in the Premier League, if not. You know, and we spend it badly. That's the problem, right? So I want more money from ENIC. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I want him gone, David. I don't want him here no more, right? But whether they've given the money at the right times or not, they've definitely invested in the wrong players over the years, or a lot of them have been the wrong players. And this is what leaves you in the situation that we find ourselves in now, unfortunately. Just my opinion, David, by the way. One more question, lads.
Oh, you're right, Mark. Sorry, just quickly. You're right. Like, ENIC are the ultimate problem. But
yeah,
Joe Lewis isn't out there saying, hey, boys, go out there and give Richarlison this contract. Joe Lewis isn't calling them up and saying, hey, I think this Mathys Tell is a good quality player.
Yeah.
30 million for Odebert. Let's go get that done, right? Vivian Lewis isn't saying in the summer, let's sign Tell and sell Sonny and not bring in another replacement. So ENIC is ultimately the problem, but kind of what we talked about before, there's people below them making bad decisions.
Yeah.
Now, my concern is they don't seem to care that those people are making bad decisions, and they don't bring in people to replace people making bad decisions. But ultimately, like, Joe Lewis isn't the reason why we signed Mathys Tell, Odebert, and Richarlison.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. You know, we can steam in on ENIC and Lewis, you know, and I'll be the first one too. Do you know what I mean? Because it's never like they never build anything. They'll buy individuals, and you'll get 2 or 3 in a window, and you think, oh, perhaps this is changing a bit now. It's not though. It's not changing at all. You know, and we've brought all these kids in over the last couple of years, youngsters. You know, and I said, and whether it happens or not, I don't know. I think people like, unless they go, I think people like your Odebears, your Bergvalls, your Archie Grays, yeah, they're going to be your senior players, yeah, in years to come if they don't get sold. Another Yoda youngsters will come through like they have done now, and we'll end up with those players and maybe a couple of sprinklers, and that'll be it. And we'll be back to square one again. These people are not building a squad to win football matches on a regular basis, in my opinion. You know, and you can only do what you can do with what you've got. unfortunately, Tottenham are in a mega injury crisis. I've never known anything like it, to be honest with you. If you went back over the last 3 years and looked at Tottenham's injury record, it's absolutely horrendous. And I mean, it's horrendous. Yeah. And I'm not making excuses for anyone that is, the squad should be strong enough that if we're down to the bare bones, it can still compete, And I think to a point, we have seen that again in the City game, absolutely awful in the first half, but at least they come out with a bit of something in the second half. And we just need to do that on a consistent basis, I think. One more question, lads, and it might be a brief answer, but I just wanted to ask you. Young Sousa had to come on today. On Dan's here now. I have to carry on for a bit because I know that Dan's got his nipper at home. Big up to you, Dan. I hope you're well, mate.
How you doing, lads?
Hello, mate. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, right.
Got your hands full there, haven't you, mate? Hey, at the moment.
How long I'll be able to be on here because the baby. Yeah,
that's all right, mate. Listen, I'll jump over to you because I know you text me. You said you jump on if you can. I know your time's, precious. Just give us a view of today and where we go from here, Dan, and Romero. Those 3 things, if you can.
Yeah, big up everyone in the chat. Hope you're all good. Smash the likes and all of that. Look, Romero killed the game, didn't he? Really, he killed the game, and there was no chance we were going to come back from this game. Being 10 men, no chance at all. I mean, he took off pace. He took off the pace, didn't he? He took off Wilson, so we had nobody who could get the ball up the pitch. And I think we created 1 chance in that second half. I think didn't do anything. 1 shot. I think it was Xavi. But yeah, they defended well, best they could. But let's be honest, we were never going to come back. Man United have got the momentum at the moment, haven't they, under Michael Carrick? They're playing well. And just a difficult day, another difficult day of the season. Obviously, relegation concerns, of course, West Ham winning today. Look, it's a problem, isn't it? Because when you can't win a game of football, like we haven't won for ages. All the other teams around us, other than Palace, are winning. Yeah. So until we start winning the game, I'm worried. I really am.
Do you see us as being in a relegation scrap now, Dan? And the only reason I ask is, as does I do to a point, whereas I'm more worried about us being dragged right into it. And have we got the balls to get out of it? Scott's opinion is, look, we're still 6 points plus a goal difference. Are West Ham even going to get 7 points before the end of the season, sort of thing?
It's momentum, Mark. This is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
People think they won't beat Man United. You don't know. They could get a result. And then after that, who have they got?
Well, pass.
It's another winnable game, isn't it?
On their screens.
Let's have a look.
They have Bournemouth after United.
Yeah, Bournemouth at home, winnable. And then who else have they got? Let me have a look.
Yeah, but if we're saying that they can beat United, then Newcastle is winnable for us.
Liverpool away, they're not going to win that one. Fulham away is a London derby, anything's possible. And then they've got Manchester City at home, which is a tough game. But when you're winning, when a team's playing with confidence, grinding out results, anything's possible. Even those games we think they won't get nothing, they're winning games. And the problem with Spurs, they're not winning games. So until we start winning games, it's a massive, massive concern.
Yeah, fair play, mate. See, that's what you're talking about there. Dan's probably used a better word than me, Scott. Momentum. Do you know what I mean? It bothers me because we haven't got any momentum. And I get what you're saying. West Ham have only beat Burnley today, and they've got United next week. But don't put it over West Ham to turn United over, mate. They probably won't, Scott. Do you know what I mean? But I get horrible vibes with Spurs, mate, and I just think we're so poor at the moment, so poor. And I get what you're saying. They've got to win, 3 games basically to overall listen. And the others have got to win games as well. Sometimes I feel like we got away with it last year because those 3 teams were that bad. Do you know what I mean? And you know, apparently we gave up on the league and all that. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to even go there. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to talk about last year. We won the Europa, and you know, it was what it was.
But I just, sorry, I'm not trying to keep going back at you, Mark. But
no, go on,
my
mate.
point
Yeah.
too is this. I also want to be clear. I think West Ham can finish ahead of us. It's not just that it's West Ham; it's that it's West Ham and Palace and Forest. Yeah. That's my bigger thing. If it was only between us and West Ham, I'd be concerned. But it's the amount of teams, and I think the same thing happens the reverse. And we've all seen it, right? We're in 8th place, and we say, well, we're only 5 points off 4th. We could get 4th. But you don't realize that there's so many other teams that are getting points. And that's what it really comes down to me. Is not, I think if West Ham could finish ahead of us, Palace could finish ahead of us. What I do not believe is going to happen is that West Ham and Leeds and Forest and Palace are all going to finish. So that just to clarify, it's more so not just us versus West Ham. Is it the other teams as well?
Yeah, I understand, Scott. I do get where you're coming from, Scott. I totally understand what you're saying about it. And, you know, the chances of all those teams overhauling us are probably slim. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm going to keep an eye on the odds, you know, because I know a couple of weeks ago, Spurs were still 200 to 1 to go down.
What is it now?
I haven't looked. I haven't looked, mate, but I'm sure them odds would have shortened a little bit by now. I know Dan's just coming. Sousa today, I know that was what I was going to ask you, lads. I know he only come on for a bit of a 20 minutes at the end. What did you make of him? Because I thought he looked quite bright, to be fair. You know, obviously hasn't played with a team before, but was getting down the left wing, you know, and I was very pleased with that, to be fair. I don't know. What did you lads think? Big up, Phil, by the way.
I thought he did all right, considering the circumstance that we chucked him into. In an ideal situation, bring on a player of his age at 19 years old in a game you're winning 2-0 or something at home, and then you bring him on and you let him have 20 minutes and, you know, get used to the team. But we had no choice. We had no other left back because obviously Davies is injured. So I think, given the circumstances, I thought we did pretty well.
Yeah. Anyone else? Sousa today? Just
I don't.
Cameo.
He didn't really stand out. I know he got walked around pretty easily the one time, but he didn't really have. I don't really see much either way to say he did poor or did well or this or that. He didn't have a whole lot to do. So
difficult though, Scott, when you chucked in against 10 men.
Like it's.
You know what I mean?
I would say almost incomplete if there was really a grade to give him, because I think it's hard.
Yeah,
weird situation. He didn't do a whole lot that impressed me. He wasn't looked like he was out of place, but I think overall we need to see more to make anything there. So
yeah, fair dues. Phil, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you. Look like you're still in there, mate.
Well, you know how it is, man. When you can see the season before it begins, you know what I mean? You just sit back and just watch it unfold, isn't it? It's a great episode, brother, just watching it game by game, you know what I'm saying? I said before the game, it would be 2-1 to Man United, but Tottenham can even get the 1, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What did you make of the sending off quickly, Phil?
Oh, that man there. I'm gonna rename Romero. I'm gonna call him Ram Man, brother. Because all I see is that man is just a walking liability. I'm telling you now. I expect him to do something stupid, to be fair. I look at this guy and I just think, if I was a rival, an opposition player, I would deliberately get the man sent off. Just wind him up here and just let him go. He's a wild ball, that man there. So you can easily goad him up into getting himself sent off.
Yeah. Was it reckless for you, Phil? Was it a bad tackle for you? Because
right, I'm gonna take my Spurs hat off. Yeah, I'm gonna say it was a red. It was well and truly deserved. He can't be doing that on the football pitch. And do you know what's worse? Yeah, right. It's not only that he called the club out in the week, and then done it then, But it's the fact that as the captain, you're a role model, and you've got you've got players who look up to you, and then you've gone and done that on the pitch today, and basically cost Spurs the game. Because once it was 10 men, there was no way they were coming back, especially away from home.
Does Romero come under the dickhead policy now?
Well, brother, I said he had the Bozo gene before the game, so it ain't like it's nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, apparently Thomas Frank's come out today and said Romero will be continuing as captain. You know, no change. It is what it is. So
Man,
yeah,
I can see him being sold in the summer. To be fair, I said to him last summer. To be honest, but oh well, it is what it is.
it is what it is, as they say. So going forward, chaps, I just want to go for a bit longer because I know Dan's jumped on for a bit and now Phil's jumped on. The Newcastle game on Tuesday. You know, is it a must-win now, this game for us, or if we lose this, are we just continually putting ourselves under pressure? You know, as the season goes on, is this one of them games now where you think to yourself, do you know what? Let's just get this 3 points and just move away from it a little bit.
For me,
Every game's a
win.
game.
Playing Arsenal on the next game, so it's
Yeah.
not on Derby in the next game. So we have to win.
Yeah.
I think we have to beat Newcastle.
Yeah. Go ahead, anyone. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, got you,
Yeah,
Dan.
yeah.
Come on, mate.
Yeah. Every game is a must-win. Every game is a must-win. Newcastle don't travel well, but we've got an awful home record. I don't trust us to win that match. Honestly, probably blow it. Maybe a draw. I don't believe in this team anymore. What we doing? What's going on? You know, when's our next win? Honestly, when is it? If you looked at the fixtures,
Yeah, we've had a look,
coming up
mate.
soon, haven't we? Liverpool away soon.
Yeah.
Palace, March 5th.
Yeah, 6-pointer. Palace, 6-pointer.
game,
That's
that's
a
gonna be.
possibility.
Is that a
Yeah.
Thursday night or something? Isn't that game? Is it Thursday night or something? I think the 5th. Yes, it's an awkward time as well. Yeah, that's
Newcastle under
we have
pressure,
to-
aren't they, guys?
Yeah,
Newcastle, they lost
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, they're struggling, aren't they? Newcastle
Lost
at
at
the
home.
moment. But
Brentford. Look at Brentford, man. How well they're doing.
Yeah,
Throwing us
Brentford
up.
play one game a week, Dan. This
No, it's not an
is the
excuse,
big thing
Not an
missing. Yeah.
excuse.
No, come
One game
on,
a
Dan,
week.
man. You got to factor that in. They're playing
Oh,
one game a week here, so they've got time to rest their players here, and time to concentrate on the training pitch. Spurs are playing twice a week, Dan. What are we doing here? And
we're
last
not.
season when we played twice a week, we finished
Did we play
17th.
midweek?
No, we didn't play this week. We played last
No.
week. We played Champions League last week. So
Yeah.
so playing 2 games a week here, we're going to get more injuries than a lot of teams.
Are you defending it, Phil?
I'm not defending nothing, Dan. I'm just stating the facts. You have to factor that all in.
There's no excuse. We should be doing better than Brentford,
I don't
man.
care about the manager, Dan. This is the biggest myth of all. I don't give a damn who the manager is, because each manager is always going to be let down by this board. So really and truly, I'm looking at every factor and putting that into context.
So you think it's okay that Brentford are above us?
It's what it is.
It's
I
not
don't rate the
good enough,
team,
man.
Dan.
No way.
This is the thing, Dan. I don't rate the team. I don't rate the Spurs team. I
Yeah,
don't rate
but
the
come
Spurs
on.
squad. And
You're
the
saying
last 3
Brentford
years
have
have
got a
told
better
me that
team
this
than
player is
Spurs?
inconsistent.
Are you
Which
saying
one?
Brentford have got a better team than Spurs, Philly? Honestly.
They don't have a better team than Spurs, but what they
Exactly,
have to,
so
what
it's
they
not
have
right.
to, no, but what they
And it
have
happens
to-
every year, right? That's
No, but
football.
what they have done here is they have the right players in the right position. This manager's fitting in square pegs and round holes all over the
What?
pitch. What are
Like
we doing
what?
here? It's got
Give us
no
an
left
example.
winger whatsoever. So he's just basically throwing anybody that can play on left wing and the left wing position, because we've got no left winger. And our technical director's sitting there telling people, what was it now? Oh, I can't find a left winger in world football. Well, you can't find someone who can play on the left. Is that what you're telling me, blood? You've got no ball playing midfielder because and our technical director's telling you that you can't find one. What are we doing here, Dan?
I'm not having it, mate. Brentford should not be above us.
Brentford
Should
have a
not be
better
above us,
attacking,
man.
better
Honestly.
attacking players than us, though. To be fair,
They got what?
better attacking players than us.
Who? Brentford?
Let's just be real. Yeah,
Have they?
The
yeah.
sums of the
Really?
parts make it up.
Really?
Thiago walks into our team. Sade walks into our team. Utara walks into our team. Damsgaard probably walks into our team at this point.
I agree.
Don't agree.
That's half their team.
I
They're
don't
probably a
agree
better
with that.
keeper than us. Vicario is like the biggest liability in the Premier League, in my opinion, in the goal. Like the guys.
Do you take that, Dan? Do you take the just a figure question? Do you take the injuries into account?
I thought we had a good starting lineup today. I thought we
For-
had a strong
what-
starting lineup.
Yeah, he
What?
could only play what was available, basically, wasn't it? That was what he had.
Well, hold on. We had a strong starting lineup for the players
I thought it was
available,
a good
or a
good
strong
team out there.
starting lineup.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
For the players available, or like a strong starting lineup. No
Like in
matter what?
general.
For
Do
the
you mean
players,
in general?
I think it was good. I thought it was a good lineup.
That's a terrible lineup we had out there today.
Well, yeah, because you don't rate the players, Scott.
But Archie Gray at right back. That's a good
Okay.
lineup. Like, I'm not. Come on.
Yeah, but did he do much wrong today? What did
Did
he
he
do
do
wrong?
much right?
We
He
did
didn't
much
do
right though,
anything,
Dan.
bro. He
Yeah,
didn't
but
do
you can't when
anything.
you got 10 men.
You can't do something good. Like he can't make good quality passes. He can't make good quality runs.
You can't blame Archie Gray for today.
I didn't
Romero
blame
was
him.
not
amazing.
blaming
for
Archie
passing.
Gray.
We're talking about the
never-
general
You
season.
mentioned Archie Gray. But you mentioned Archie Gray.
You said it was a good starting lineup. I
Yeah,
can't
other than-
imagine that we
okay,
can say that Archie
Gray
Gray in the
aside,
starting lineup.
Gray
is good.
aside, we could have dealt with, done better with Spence or Porro. Yeah, but other than that, I thought that side was we were doing okay
Odegaard
until the sending off.
isn't a good
Oh,
lineup.
All right, okay, Dan. Yeah, I'll take your point. Yeah, right. So we went down to 10 men after 25 minutes because Captain Reckless decided to go and get himself sent off. Yeah, right. So basically, what we're supposed to do with 10 men? We're supposed to go and attack. If we go and attack Man United, yeah, we'd be ripped at the back here because they'll
No,
stretch
I
the
get
pitch
that.
here.
I get
Basically,
that.
no, yeah.
I'm talking about the
so
season,
what
man.
are you asking Thomas Frank to do then?
I'm talking about the season. I'm not talking about the game today. We lost the game today because Romero got sent off. I'm talking about the
But
season.
the season itself here, right? Right, we've been right, and I am one of the first people to say, yeah, I do not like the injuries because everyone gets injuries, and injuries are only an excuse here when the board fail to do their job, right? And our lovely technical directors doesn't see that we have 13 injuries. My man came out and told us we have 7 injuries, brother. All right, so basically he can't count to save his life. And that's Mr. Johan Lang. He can't count to save his life. But I don't rate this. I'm looking at the squad, Dan, and you tell me which player today, yeah, right, in this team inspires you the most. Because I'm looking at this team, and I'm thinking, any manager coming into this team, yeah, you're basically having to fit players into different positions because we don't have that specialist player in that position.
What's the round pegs in square holes, Philly? I know you mentioned the left winger. Who else do you mean?
I'm looking at centre midfield. I'm looking at there's no progressors in the midfield. You've got one terrier in the midfield in Gallagher who's going to be up and down the pitch here and relentlessly running up and down the pitch and putting everything into the game. But you don't have one ball playing midfielder in there to dictate the game. So what we're doing here?
Today's game. You mean?
Any game. Today's
So
game is
against Wolves, Burnley, West Ham. You're saying these players are not as good as those players in those teams?
No, Dan. Let's look at Crystal Palace here, and let's take their team into consideration. When they buy a player, yeah, they buy a player for a specific role in their team. Right? We have just gone through a transfer window where we just sold a winger, yeah, and brought in a central midfielder. What we're doing here? So we've weakened the wing position here to strengthen the midfield. Dan, is that common sense, or is that
we should be able to beat those teams around us? West Ham, Burnley, Wolves, Sunderland, Brentford.
Some of
We
the
should be
parts,
able to, with that set of players, we should be getting more results out of those teams. And
What tells
we're
you
just
that?
poorly set up by the manager.
What tells you
Tactics
that?
are awful.
What tells you that? The last 3 years have told me that the team
Everything
is
tells me that. I know. We should be beating those teams around us.
Why?
The top teams, that's another question.
Why?
Yeah.
Why should we be beating the teams around you? Why?
We should be. I rate
Why?
our players better than those teams. In them
Oh.
teams, our players compared to those
so these
teams.
same players,
Wolves,
so these
West
same
Ham,
players who are first in the
Burnley.
game. So these
Just
same
talk one at a
players who are-
time. Go on.
Sorry.
Just talk one at a time. It's all right because we can't. The guests probably can't hear what you're saying. So just go one at a time, and then if you don't mind, thank you.
Go on, Dan. Yeah, you say your piece here because I want to know what tells you that this team is better than it is when the last 3 years here, the stats are in my favour, telling you that the players aren't as consistent as people make
Simple
them out
answer,
to be.
Philly. We've had
What?
shit managers. Terrible
Oh,
managers,
oh, so
Frank
man-
and Ange.
oh.
Terrible managers.
So what about the players' accountability, Dan?
What do you mean the players? What do you mean?
Right. So it's not about the man. So it's only on the manager. It's not on the players themselves to go and stand up and represent themselves.
Of course, they're
It's all
responsible.
the
at all,
manager's
but
fault.
the overall responsibility is the manager who sets up the team. We've seen how poor we've played this season under Frank. How defensive we are. You know how we don't go at games. We don't show enough intent to win games of football. We only start
Because
to
of the
play
players.
when we're two goals that's down. That's all we do.
We saw that
no.
under
Well,
saw that under Conte. We saw that under Jose. We saw that at the end of Poch's range.
We weren't
reign.
this low in the league, Scott, under those managers.
No, but you just things you said. We didn't go at teams. People complained about that under
Yeah, but we
Conte
got results.
all the time.
We got results. We got results
we
with
had
those
better
managers
players.
in those leagues.
We had Harry Kane there to bail the managers out. We had Harry Kane and Heung-min Son to bail this team out. This team has no Son and it has no Kane to rely upon. And now we're seeing the true Tottenham Hotspurs. That was nothing underneath it, and they were reliant on Kane and Son. So now, right, we are we are an average team. And I don't, and like I said to you, Daniel, I don't rate the players. I don't rate a lot of these players that we got playing. I don't rate them. I don't rate Solanke. I think he was lucky last week here with a scorpion kick that people have been raving about all week. I don't think he meant to do that. But then again, I've heard it all today. Oh, he's a brilliant player. Based off what? He had one good season. Show me some consistency, Dan. None of these players are consistent.
Why don't you
one
ever talk
game,
about the manager?
so one week they can
Billy.
be up there, and then the next
Billy.
week they can be down.
Philly, why don't you ever talk about the manager?
Why? What? Right. I don't like the way Thomas Frank sets up. I don't like the fact that he's negative. But I'm not going to blame every piece of it on the manager. That's like blaming Levy for things that are out of his control. I have to factor in the players here have a responsibility when they step on the pitch. They have to have a responsibility.
Of course, but not beating those teams in and around us. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. Go round the panel. Let's see what they think. Cookie. Should we be
Saying the
beating
players
teams
aren't
with
good
this
enough
squad?
isn't an
Like
excuse.
West Ham,
man.
Burnley, Sunderland, Brentford, Wolves. Should these set of players be beating those teams at home? Especially at home.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
They should be,
We're
yeah,
not.
but they're not.
And why
are
is
they?
that? It's the manager.
All right, okay. So last season we lost to Leicester, who never won a game again. They never won a game again in the Premier League. We lost to Wolves again. We lost to who else was there? We lost to quite a lot of games last season, Dan. But and these are the same players again who
It's
lost.
Ange,
Like I said,
Ange's
22
tactics,
games
man.
last
He
season.
left us wide open. Why can't we have a manager has balance who can defend and attack? That would be a start, wouldn't it? A manager who could do a bit of both.
Yeah.
Why
balance.
can't we have players that do that?
Yeah, well, obviously we need better players. I agree with that. But we should be beating those teams in and around us. We should be higher up in the league. Don't expect us to be top 4, top 5, but we should be higher up in the league. We shouldn't be facing a relegation battle. And it's due to Thomas Frank. Poor management of the
But
side.
it's not. Like, why? It's so crazy to say it's just due to Thomas Frank. We have players that we all know aren't good enough. Like, why is it not both of them?
Good
That's
enough to
what I
beat
don't get.
Wolves, Scott. Burnley, West Ham. Serious.
No, that's what bad teams when you have mediocre teams. Go look at Fulham's results over the year. A mid-block team, they lose. They have bad losses. That's what happens when you have poor players. You get bad results. Then you have great results where we get a draw against Newcastle. We get a win against City because they're inconsistent. That's what it is. That's what players when we have a squad like this. That's what happens, right?
I think we've got a better squad than Fulham. I think Silva's doing
Really?
a fantastic job.
Fulham.
I don't
We've
know.
got a
about
better
that.
squad than Fulham. They've got a better
Based
manager.
on
He's
what?
doing well.
Like Fulham's finished ahead of us now 2 years in a row significantly.
Yeah, because
Yep.
of 2 poor managers, Scott.
Is it just the manager stand, or is it not the players?
We need better players to challenge the top sides.
Dan, I've just got a quick question for Dan because obviously, would you say Newcastle have a better squad than us?
I think so, yeah.
So why are they struggling in the league? Could it be a combination of Champions League and a poor squad or not a big enough squad, why both Newcastle and us are struggling as well?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into the details of Newcastle, but they obviously are underperforming.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is?
No, I'm just saying because it's just coincidentally the Arsenal, the Liverpool's, the bigger squads seem to be doing bigger teams doing all right in the Champions League and the league with the bigger squads, rather than us and Newcastle, whose squads are threadbare, are doing not so well in the league because of Champions League.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll have an impact on it, but it still doesn't excuse us beating those teams in and around us. Last week, how did we come back against City with 11 players, 12 players missing? How did we do
Because
that?
City took their foot off the gas in the second half and allowed us to get back into it. And then when it went 2-2, and you saw after we scored our second goal, City took the game over again, and we couldn't get that
We
third
still
goal.
had better chances in that game. We still had better chances than City. Look at the
in the
statistics.
second half when it was 2-0, right?
Yeah, when we were 2-2, we had chances. Their keeper was making saves. How could we do that with all those players missing?
But we didn't. After it went 2-2, we didn't look like we were scoring.
We had the keeper. We tested their keeper. We deserved to win that game in that second half.
I don't think so. They tested our keeper. Reinders had a clear header that should have gone right in easily. So if we're going to give ourselves credit for the chances we have to give City credit for the chances they had, right?
Yeah, they won the first half. We won the second half.
And it ended
And
2-2.
how did we do it? How did we do it with all those players missing? If these players are so
I
crap,
just said because it was 2-0 and City didn't play with the same. Because when teams are up 2-0, they don't play with the same intensity. They change the way that they play, right? Trying to see out the win, especially a team like City that's still trying to compete in multiple competitions. So they don't play the same way, which is why then when it went to 2-2 and they realized they have to get their energy back up and they have to change the way they play, that we couldn't control the game like we could when we were losing 2-0.
how we're doing so well in Europe then?
That was my
Who
next
are we
question.
beat-
That was my
Who
next
are we
question.
playing in Europe? We're not playing that well. It's a few games, and we got some good results against teams that aren't that difficult to get results against. The one impressive win was Dortmund, right? We had a good game. Did we play well against Monaco? Did we play well against Bodo Glimt? Did we play well against Villarreal? We got an own goal that the goalie pushed into his own goal. Like, have we played that well in Europe?
No, not particularly, have we?
I
No,
think
it's the same. It's the same as last season. Last season in the Europa League, yeah, right. When we played a difficult team, we didn't do any good. They had the better chance. Even the Rangers had better chances than us last season in Europe, but we managed to survive and get in and win the tournament. But really and truly, if we had played a decent team, I'm sure they would have lost in there. The same way when they played Paris Saint-Germain. Look how Paris Saint-Germain outplayed Spurs on the pitch. They beat them 5-3. And it's only
Does anyone want to talk about this manager in this panel tonight?
Came back into the game. Look
Does
at
anyone want to
City.
talk about this manager, or is it just the players on this panel
I'm talking
tonight?
about the manager,
Anyone
if you
want to talk about the manager and
What
how
do you
he's
want to
failing or
talk
doing
about?
anything wrong? Anyone?
You
We
make
can't
it
talk
sound
about
like
the manager,
I'm
Dan.
just making excuses for the manager, Dan. I couldn't care less who the manager is. But Thomas Frank has made mistakes. I would blatantly stand there and say Thomas Frank has made mistakes. But I think he is just a small piece of the pie here. I think there's more. I think it's institutionalized failure, Dan. I think that this club has hired a manager and not given him the tools to even do his job properly. I think they've looked at his Brentford work here and thought, you know what, right? He's managed to keep Brentford in the Premier League of a shoestring budget, and so therefore, we can bring him here, basically handcuff him, not give him what he needs player wise, and then hopefully, he can do something out of it.
But didn't you see what Frank said in his press conference? He's supporting ENIC. He's supporting the board. That's unacceptable.
Every manager supports the board.
He's coming out and saying, he says it's unfair to judge them in this window. ENIC have been here 25 years. What was he going on about?
What?
He wasn't here though.
But that's what
24
everybody does, Dan.
Huh? No, he's talking
Every
about the
manager
owners.
supports their
He's talking about the owners. Judge him the next window. What about the past 25 years?
But he wasn't
Dan,
here the
he's
last
called out the
24
club, Dan.
years.
No, I'm talking about the
let's be
board.
serious, yeah?
The board. He's
Yeah, I'm
talking about
saying
the
he
board.
wasn't here with the board 24 years. We have.
So,
Yeah, but he
so
knows the
this is-
situation with Spurs. He knows the lack of success.
So you
Well,
think
I don't
that
know what
Thomas
why
Frank
he's supporting
getting
them.
You think him getting
are
paid
his
8 million a
employers.
year should sack the board?
Yeah,
Or
but it's
should-
too
should
much,
complete-
man. You should be demanding players from that board in this window. We need it
How
with
do you
all
know
those
he
injuries.
isn't?
Well, he's coming out and said he hasn't.
But so does every manager. Which manager goes out and says
Well,
that
he's a super yes man, in my opinion. A super
All right,
yes man.
So this super yes man, yeah, has just gone out and
Super
told
yes
you.
man, yeah.
Right, so he's told the board in the summer, yeah, there's a miscommunication between himself and Lang. The same Lang who said that he spoke to him at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a miscommunication between him and the recruitment team. Right. This is the same yes man, yeah, who's come out and said, yeah, that this squad is weaker now than it was in the beginning of January. But he's a yes man, isn't he?
Well, we should have demanded it. He didn't sound very demanding to me.
Oh, so that's
He
not
could have come
demanding
out.
it,
He could have
Dan.
pushed.
But hold on. He demands it and the owners say no. Like, what do you
Well,
think?
why
that
don't
the
he
owners
say it a bit more
are
tactfully
giving
then?
players?
He's come out and he's
What's
so
he
calm
supposed
about
to
it
do?
all.
I don't understand.
It's like
What's he
letting him off the
supposed
hook.
to do? The only
That's what
manager that
every
ever
single
spoke
manager
about the
does
board
in
was
every
Conte.
club.
The only
If
manager
you
was
guys are
Conte, and
happy
that
with
was
how
it.
he's conducting himself, fair enough.
No,
But I'm not.
nobody said that though, Dan. That's not fair.
It
Who
sounds
said
like
that
it. You're
they're happy with
defending
how
him.
he's
You're
conducting
defending him. Has Scott defending him? Philly defending him.
No, it
In what
isn't.
way?
Saying that
In what
he's
way?
an
Sounds like
employee
it.
isn't going to criticize his employer.
Sounds
isn't
like you're defending him.
That's how reality works, Dan.
So you agree with his comments in the presser, yeah? After
We're not
that
saying we
window?
agree with
that.
him. We're
Again,
saying we
you're making
understand
stuff
why he
up.
made
I
them.
didn't say that.
Well, it's unacceptable, man.
It's very
Dan,
different from
Saying
saying
that
we
he
agree.
shouldn't criticize Enoch isn't
I
agreeing with his
understand why
comments.
he would say comments like that because they're his employers. The only manager that ever said anything against the board was Conte, and he got sacked the next day.
He said it at the end of his term. He didn't say it when
Yeah,
he first
not even
came
at the
in
beginning.
either.
It was like anyway, but he was the only manager that ever spoke up about the board. Let's be real. It was just Conte. Even Poch didn't do it. But Poch
he did do
defended the board, defended Levy for fucking ages.
No, he did do it.
Despite
No,
not-
Haz, I think he got it wrong. He
Yeah.
did do it. He said, yeah, when I wanted washing machines here, I got tumble dryers. So that is basically calling out the board. When he said, right, we have a lovely house here, but poor furniture, that's calling out the board. When
Yeah, but he said
Mourinho
that at the
did
end,
away-
Philly. Then he
not in the
got
way
sacked.
Conte did. Not in the way Conte
No,
did.
no, no,
though.
no. Yeah,
Conte proper called out the board. Conte went-
was brash here and raw. So he was brash and raw. But don't think that Mourinho wasn't diplomatic with it. He told them that. He said different managers, same players, same results. He also came out and basically wanted to have his team play in the cup final, but Levy's telling him he had to play him in the league. So Mourinho openly walked away from the job.
He got sacked, didn't he? A week before the final
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
I'll say it. I wish Frank would call them out. I would love it. But
Yeah.
no employees getting paid $8 million a year is going to come out and complain
You
about
could just
their
approach it differently,
boss.
Scott.
None
He
of
doesn't have to
us
come
would go
out
and
so up their
complain about
arse.
our
It doesn't have to come out so up their arse. And that's how he's coming across to me.
But
And
that's because you don't like him, Dan. So of course it's going to come across. that way.
how can anyone like Frank? Look
what-
where we're doing in the league. 10th defeat, 2 wins in 17. How can anyone like this man in charge of our football club deciding the lineup, picking the tactics week to week? We can't win a game of football. He should have been sacked after the West Ham game.
Dan, what would you do there?
Are we still here? We're on the back. We're going down. We're facing a relegation battle, guys. Come on.
Yeah, because of the players.
And him. He's to do with it. Come on.
Dan, what would you do there?
We finished 17th with the same players last year, so it can't
Ange
just be
has
him.
Ange.
Can't just be
Ange was
him.
terrible. He was
But
terrible.
these
as
players
well.
are terrible everywhere. Like Richarlison
disagree.
And not
wasn't
two
good at
teams at
Everton.
the same time. We have
Solanke's
terrible
never
players
been good
and
in his
terrible
career.
manager. I don't understand this. Like,
Two
when I
terrible
see-
managers. Well, Frank is not good enough, right? Ange was not good enough,
Sure.
right? Both managers
Sure,
are not
we're
doing
not-
a good
we're-
job.
You're
in my
exempting
opinion,
the players
both.
from any accountability because the players are not good enough. I'm sorry, the players.
We
are not
already
good
They're
enough.
not
agreed
beat
with it.
Wolves,
Frank
and
isn't good
Burnley and
enough.
West Ham has. Are you for real? Are you
Yeah,
for real?
because Somerville walks
Honestly.
into our team. We don't have a winger. Somerville walks into our team. in
But
my
just because
opinion,
we
for
haven't got a
example.
winger.
Owen
Come
walks
on,
into our
man.
team. Yeah.
What's Frank done well?
Gomez walked into our team.
What Frank's done well? What has he done? Anything good for this
You're
side?
misunderstanding my point I'm trying to say. Before you came on, I was actually saying to sack Frank, just so you know, yeah? Just so don't take my quotes completely out of context. What I'm saying is the players can be shit and the manager cannot be good enough or the right fit at the same time. We're in a situation where we need to change the manager, not because I think Frank's like this awful manager. I just think he's the wrong, like the players are not with him mentally. Yeah, and my worry with
agree.
Tottenham is more mentally, which is why I was going to make another point. On paper, we might have technically better players in some positions if you compare us to these teams. But mentally, because we have a lot of young players in the squad, our players are not mentally good enough to fight like the Burnleys or the West Hams, because they're more fighters. Yeah, their players are more fighters. Our players are not fighters. This is why I think as well we do better in Europe, because Graham Bergvall against Dortmund, it's a much less physical game, which is why I think one of the reasons we beat Dortmund, because the Champions League is much less physical. Also, we had quite a favourable run in the Champions League, apart from PSG. Like, we had quite winnable games. But do you think inconsistency of our players, like Scott pointed out, we didn't beat Bodo, we didn't beat Monaco because our players are inconsistent. We have so many young players. That's just the reality. It's just the reality.
We
The
need
manager
better players.
yeah,
We do.
it's
If you
fine.
really
And
want
I'm
to challenge,
saying to change the
we need better
manager,
players.
But the players are not good enough either, and our squad is not built well.
So
We
you
have
put it more on the
overloaded
players
young
has
players.
than the manager?
Huh?
Do you put it more on the players
Huh?
than the manager has?
What?
Do you put it more on the players at the problem than the manager?
Well, because the players were 17th last season, then the players are probably, I think, a bit more.
Fair enough.
Because, like I said, we overloaded the squad with youngsters. Like, I think we're paying the price because of the Bergvall, Gray, those windows. We're paying the price now.
I don't agree, but it's your opinion, man. Everyone's
That's
got
how
their
I
own
feel
opinion.
about
They're right.
I even said before he came on, we should sack Frank. We and Mark spoke about this, and I think we should bring someone like Redknapp with a club affiliation coach with him, like a Defoe, for example, or Sherwood. Even I was mad enough to say that. But that's how I see it. Do that for the last 6 months or 3 months, and then we bring in someone else in the summer. But
I agree. We need an interim in ASAP. If we don't win the next 2 games, do you think he will be sacked?
No, he's staying the whole season.
I don't know.
Honestly,
I
if
think
you drop nearer and nearer that bottom 3, you think he's still here?
I don't
He's
know.
going to be our
It's been
manager for
like-
the whole season. The time to sack him was already. The board has shown they're keeping him. They're not
So
going to
it's
change
okay
him.
to keep losing games and not winning. It's okay. Is
Why are
it?
you telling us
The
I
board
can't
is
sack
keeping him, not me. The board. It's not a
I
way,
can't
But
but
sack
why
the board
wouldn't they
doesn't
sack
care.
him if he keeps losing games? Why wouldn't he be sacked if he keeps losing games? If you keep going down?
Vinay and
Not
Lan
winning games.
Because
with
they
him.
don't care about football.
I was just about to say that, Has. Right. When Frank is sacked, right? Because it's inevitable Frank will be sacked here because he'll pay the price for this poor window, right? So when he is sacked and he is let go, I want Lang and our mate there, Vinay, to go with him because they were the
agree.
ones who brought him into the football club, right? So it was their decision to hire him. Frank didn't just walk from the street into Tottenham Hotspurs. They said they scouted him and they chose him. So it was their responsibility to make sure that this manager was in the right position, was the right manager and had the right squad to do something. It didn't. They actually left the man short. So really and truly, they should go with the manager as well.
No, I agree. They need to go.
But the thing is, I can't sack Frank. Me and Scott, we can't sack Frank. I'm not on the board because you keep asking why is he still here? Why is he not? Is he going to be sacked? I don't know if he's going to be sacked.
No, he won't. He won't be sacked.
I think
I'm
they're
not
going to
sure.
stick with him
Keep
as
losing.
long as Lange is there. I think he's going to stay. But
It's scary.
We keep
We're getting
losing
closer
and they
and
don't
closer.
sack him yet, Dan. Like they don't care about football. They don't care.
Well, it's getting scary, honestly. It's getting
Sure, for
so
us,
bad,
because we
man.
care, Dan. We care. The board
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
care.
I know. I get it. I get a reason why you don't think he'll be sacked, but there must be a point when he loses his job. You can't keep losing. You can't not
Yeah,
keep
when
winning
we're
games of football.
when we're relegated.
relegate.
They'll be too late.
That's the truth. It won't be like they keep showing us. Why wasn't he? He should have been sacked in December. If that's when you wanted to sack him, you sack him in December. They didn't. It's not like things were great in December and it's just now. Like we should have sacked him in
it's getting
December
worse.
and then bring somebody in. So they don't care. It's not me. I'm not saying not that he. I'm saying the board won't sack him. They've shown us how many times that they don't care.
Look at that stat there Matt's brought up, man. That's terrible.
That's madness, that, isn't it? That what?
That is.
Matt, he's worse than Ange.
Yeah.
Wow.
0.33 or something it was.
Oh wow.
It was
Oh, right,
0.33.
Oh dear.
Dan, what would you do? Would you sack him now and then bring in Sherwood or something like that?
not Sherwood, but hopefully someone better than him.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like
we
a
need to
Spurs
find a
man.
better-
That's
we
what
need to
I
find a
meant.
better manager who can get more out of this lot because we can't win, man. We can't win a
So
game
who
of
do you
football.
bring in, Dan?
It's awful. Huh?
This poor victim here, would you bring in to be the manager of Tottenham Hotspur? Because I'm looking at
It's a
any
tough
manager
question,
coming in
man.
there.
It's a tough question to ask interims. I'd
Oh.
prefer to bring in a permanent, somebody longer term, but there's got to
And who
be
were you
managers
thinking,
out there
Dan?
who can play attacking football, who can get more out of these players. Surely, there's got to be someone. It's hard
I'm not
when you ask
expecting,
one.
even if bringing an interim, I'm not expecting us to suddenly be like amazing, to be honest. Like, we might get a bounce, which is why I want the men to come in, but I'm not expecting them to suddenly solve all our problems in like 3
No, of
weeks.
course not. Of course they won't solve all the problem, but it'll be an uplift. We need to win games of football. We need to get up that table. We've got to get away from the relegation zone.
Yeah.
And the only way I see it getting that right now is changing the manager, even if it is an interim. Got to
Would
go
it-
for it.
Would it be something like a Jurgen Klinsmann? I don't know if has he still got a job now?
Yeah, I think he's managed. Isn't he managed a career?
I
Is he still the manager then?
Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
He's a Taylor time, but obviously not now.
yeah.
Listen, guys.
I've got a couple of super chats to do. If you don't mind, I'll just do these, and then where am I? Yeah, and I've got a question for you as well. So, Binny guy, just put one in there. We really love miseries, don't we? Excuse FC. Big up to you, Binny. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. And Matt's come in and he said 2 wins out of 16. No manager should survive. There you go, chaps. The comments are coming in. Phil Coysers, here's one question for you. It's the same as what he said. I would have asked it, Phil. You don't need to do that, but he sent a super chat in. You can answer this one, lads. Has Frank improved on last year's league campaign? So I suppose you'd say so far.
The league's not over yet.
No.
So
So far, in Thomas Frank's performance this year, is he on a par with Ange? Is he worse than Ange? I don't know. I think there's a point difference between the pair of them so far over Ange's season last year and Thomas Frank's this year. Big question, isn't it? It's a big question. At the end of the day, Ange went. This time last year, he was on 30 points and we just kept losing games. Yeah? This year, we're on 29 points now at the same time. So we're on a point less. Yeah? If we keep losing, and this is what I was saying to Scott, it's what bothers me. And again, Scott, I understand what you're saying. I get you with it. Just bothers me that we drop into that fight. I think 29 points, to be quite honest, is disgusting. It's disgusting. Right. We shouldn't even be that, we shouldn't be put in this position. No one should be, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. Lads, what do you think? Quick, go on.
Right, so last season we finished 17th. Yeah, we're playing in the Europa League, which was a worse tournament than we were in this year because we were playing in the Champions League with the big boys. So really and truly, yeah, I washed my hands with the season because I knew the squad there wasn't able to play 2 games a week. Right, no matter what the fans were saying in September and October, I said that the 2 games a week will take its price on the team. Right, so I'm not surprised that Spurs are down in the 14th position. I'm not surprised that Spurs that the squad can't maintain it. The injuries on top of it aren't helpful, especially with certain players that are missing. The more attacking players like the Kulusevski, the Madisons are missing. Yes, we have Xavi Simons, but then he had to adapt to life in the Premier League, and now he's starting to show something. He's starting to show the quality that he's had, but that takes time. And this is the problem. This is the issue. It takes time for Thomas Frank. Yeah, is a slow burning manager. He's like Pochettino. Yeah, he takes time for you to implement his philosophies and his style of play. Now, that is the kind of manager that we have. We had win now managers. The club itself, as an institution, could not give them what they needed. Right. So we have a project manager now. That's going to take time to implement their philosophies, their style of play, everything else. So am I surprised that Spurs are down in 14th? No. Am I surprised that they're 6 points above the relegation zone? No. Because this is the squad that we have.
Yeah. It's and Binny keeps coming in the chat, and Binny, it might sound like we're making excuses, mate, or whatever you want to call it, right? But
nobody's making excuses.
we all
It's
know
such a
what the
joke in
problem
the
is,
chat.
Ben, but we can't just keep going on about them all the time. We have to analyse the game, what the manager's doing, and I know it seems like it's the same every week, but I don't know what we're supposed to do. Come at it from a different angle a bit. I don't know. We can only ask the questions, mate. At the end of the day, we know
I think
it's
the problem
there's a problem. Go on, people, carry on.
My biggest issue for me is the age the structure of our squad building or structure of the squad is that we have so many young players. You look at like the wingers, Odobert, Tell, Mikey Moore's on loan, and you got the whole central midfield, which for me is like almost the most important area of the pitch. You've got Saar, Gray, Bergval, even Porridge did a little stint there. But like those areas, especially central midfield areas, like a really important part of the team. And you've got Xavi as like a player playing a bit further up, who's new to the league. I think the middle of the pitch is inevitably going to be a massive problem, right? So I think that's a big issue for us, and because we didn't go out and do something about it. I know we brought Gallagher in, but that's not enough. That's not enough. And I think we're suffering because we just have too many young players. Like if we had older players around the team instead of these players, I'd be more confident of us staying up. But we don't. We're relying on kids to be our first teamers, basically.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, people? I mean, what can you do?
Odebert's had some good in form, but even I could still consider Odobert quite young. Yeah, he's had like a little upturn in form, but I'm not expecting this kid to like carry us out of this. Same with Xavi. I'm not expecting him to carry us out of this. And then we've got Moani, don't really want to be here. And then obviously Richardson's injured, Solanke's just come back. So we're struggling for goals. That's the problem. We're struggling for goals, and we didn't go out and fix that. So
yeah, fair play. Just got another super chat here from Vindaloo. I think that's meant to be get some Whispers, lads. It helps. Whispers chocolate bars, I think, is down here. Yeah, there you go. Big up to you, Vindaloo. Thank you very much, mate. We appreciate it. Lads, look, we've been going for over 2 hours. Is there anything else that you want to talk about regarding Spurs in any way? Think anything you're not happy with? Well, obviously, there's a lot you're not happy with. We all are. But I don't know. Is there anything anyone can say, a bit of something maybe positive? Did we have any positive from today's game at all?
Yeah, it's over. And move on to the next one. What's it move on to the next one, isn't it?
I'll just
go on, Scott.
I'm just going to quickly respond to a few of the people in the chat saying there's excuses. And I think that there's some confusion. When we say that the players aren't good enough, that isn't an excuse for Frank. That's the fact. These players aren't good enough. I think Philly and I are very much the same. And Mark, I think too, is that when we say like we expected this, like Philly and I say a lot, we expected this. That doesn't mean we accept it's acceptable. We just thought this season was going to be poor at the start because we saw the players we had. We don't say this is acceptable. So there's a difference there when we say that this is what we expect to see from these players. Doesn't mean that we're saying Frank can't be better. Doesn't mean that the club shouldn't be better, right? It's just this is what we expect. We have a low-level squad, so we're getting poor results, and it's not a surprise. It's not acceptable. We should be far better than that. But it's not a surprise to some of us who have seen this squad and, most importantly, have been saying this for years.
Well, I disagree, but we've had that argument tonight. I love you all.
Listen, it's not arguments, by the way. I just want to let everyone know in the chat, this is difference of opinion, right? And that's what these shows are all about. We might all be Spurs fans, but people come at different angles of things. It don't mean people hate each other because they have a bit of a disagreement on a point, just to let everyone know.
Better word, isn't it?
They're all mates. We're all mates. All of us are mates.
Let me take this bit, Master, here. Me and Dan Alice are very good friends. You do know that, right? In the chat. We just have a clash of opinions, but me and Dan Alice do talk. So we are good mates. So please don't take it personally.
We're passionate, man.
You still disagree with someone to be friends with them. Like, it's actually like the normal thing. Like, you still disagree with someone, be friends with them. It's still like a normal thing.
Exactly.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Of course you can.
All fun.
It's just
Absolutely.
football, bro. It's just football, man. Like, anyway. Yeah.
That's a great point from Leslie there. 10 players out injured every week doesn't help either. No, it don't, but we have to get on with it, Leslie, at the end of the day. It is what it is, mate. And I just think I hate to keep harping back, but at the end of the day, if whoever's the manager, it don't matter. If you like Thomas Frank, you don't. It could be Pep Guardiola in charge, right? He can only do so much with players that are not consistent at the end of the day. And Spurs have not been consistent for a while now, for a long time. And it needs to change. Mentality needs to change at the top in order for it to spread throughout the club and to see better days, unfortunately. And it is what it is. So on that note, chaps, I'm going to say, make sure to subscribe to Haz over at Hasper. Get over to him. Give him a sub. Get over to the Danalist. He's flying over there at the moment, getting online when he can. He's got a new Baba, so he's had to slow down a bit, but big up to you, Dan. Get over to Phil at his film channel. BG, Phil, what is it?
BMGT.
There you go. Phil does film reviews with Corey, I believe. All sorts of bits and pieces. You go over there and have a look for yourself. Give him a sub. Big up to Mr. Taylor for being in the house today. Big up to Scotty for being here. He's been here the whole show. I really appreciate it. Big up to all you lot in the chat. Hit the like on the way out. Look, we're 5 short of 50. 5 more likes out of you to get to 50, and we'll love you for it. Big up to you all. Big up to the chat. Love you all. There's Baba. First time I've seen Baba.
Aww.
Hello, Baba. Everyone give Babs a wave. There you go. Sweet as a nut. Newcastle on Tuesday. Hopefully we can get something out of it. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for all of us, please. Love you all. Oh, my word. A super chat's just come in. I can't let it go. It's Dave.
Yeah.
Big up to Dave. Thanks, Dave, very much. So just read this out. There's only one person to blame today, and that's Romero. His rashness has again cost us. He's been in the headlines again this week, slagging the club off, and then he goes and does this today. He's a clown. There you go. I think most of us are not happy with Mr. Romero today. It's just how football is today. I think 30 years ago, he don't get sent off. He don't when the game's different, but that's just my opinion. It is what it is. We're going to make a move. Big up to you, Dave, for sending that in, Spurs Syndrome. Big up to everyone who sent super chats in tonight. Big up to the chat. Big up to the panel. We'll see you all again soon. Much love to you all. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Good
No,
night.
he's